The training ground of Kamar Taj is in complete chaos. The level of destruction is much worse than when Chushu tested his strength. Damn it. Now I have to spend a lot of money again. As the saying goes, one does not know the value of firewood, rice, oil, and salt until one becomes the head of a household. Wong was hit by a burst of magical energy and flew from a distance, landing heavily on the chaotic square. But after Wong got up, his first reaction was extreme heartache. These are all top-quality bluestone tiles. The procurement cost alone is worth tens of thousands. But Wong didn't have time to feel sorry for more than 2 seconds. He saw the ghostly figure of Ebony Maw, the Wukong monkey, suddenly floating behind Dr. Strange. Concentrate your mind. Don't listen to anything that guy says. Wong shouted loudly. I don't know what special ability this alien named Ebony Maw has. In any case, in battle, many magicians have gone crazy because it whispered a few words like in their ears. And they launched attacks on their own comrades. However, Wong's reminder was still a second too slow. Ebony Maw's withered hand, like Deadman's, wrapped around Dr. Strange's neck from behind. The bewitching voice sounded in Dr. Strange's ear. Fight for us, Dr. Strange, they are your enemies. Ebony Maw comes from an extinct alien race called the Whisperers. This race has a powerful ability. They can use persuasive words filled with enchantment to persuade, even control others. And Ebony Maw is the cream of the crop of this race. Its words are difficult to resist even for a group of mentally strong cosmic powerhouses. Therefore, Ebony Maw is often called the Black Tongue, or Black Tongue Strategist in the universe. Meaning, spreading lies and manipulating evil people. You're right, they are the enemies. The whisper of the Black Tongue Strategist successfully shook Dr. Strange's mind. His eyes turned dark. The magic whip in his hand also pointed towards the king. Damn it. Here we go again. Why'd I say, Agan? Because this is already the 3rd time. The king cursed under his breath. A soft and pure white blade appeared in his hand. Sword of the goddess Oxite's mind. The king held the blade in his hand, stepping on a magic array with his feet. He walked through the air. His round body displayed an agility that was completely inconsistent with his physique. In just a few steps, he rushed to the front of Strangeland, dagger in hand, about to strike. Roar. Black Dwarf charged out from a group of weapon masters, no, a group of secret magicians, surrounding him. He threw a war hammer towards the king in the air. Hog's beard. I've never seen such an annoying guy. Helpless, the king had to temporarily give up awakening Strangeland and almost instantly conjured a seraphim shield. He blocked Black Dwarf's attack. Then, he used a reverse bow set thunder, sending Black Dwarf flying. As one of the few great magicians in Kamar Taj, and also the strongest one, the king had incredibly rich spellcasting speed and combat experience. But the problem was that Ebony Maw was not a magician. Its ability was similar to Magneto, or Quicksilver, the power to manipulate objects with the mind. It had no casting delay in the true sense, and there was no cooldown either. Secret magicians, I am very familiar with your way of fighting. In the Ravagers team, there is a creature from the planet Lem, named Krugel. It uses the same kind of spells as you. I am very familiar with this. After manipulating Strangeland, Ebony Maw pulled off the eye of Agamotto from his neck. Then, it moved its hand slightly. The tiles on the surrounding rooftops instantly turned into sharp spikes. They shot towards Wong like raindrops. Wong was just about to dodge. Ebony Maw gave a glance. The floor beneath Wong suddenly sank. Bricks and soil sank like a swamp, entangling Wang's feet and keeping him in place. Damn it. These things cost money. Watching Ebony Maw go up to the roof to remove tiles and destroy the floor tiles. Wong was extremely angry. He put on the ancient god Hog's body. Then, with a sudden force, he shattered the soil and bricks entwined around his feet. Oh, can't you all just wait quietly for death? Seeing Wong break free from his restraints, Ebony Maw became somewhat unhappy. It tightly clenched the eye of Agamotto it had obtained, and just as it was about to launch another attack. Suddenly, it exerted force with its hand. A feeling of something breaking came. Ebony Maw looked down, but it found that the eye of Agamotto it had stolen had already been shattered. Not only the outer shell, but even the green gem inside had also shattered together. These two, one was plastic, and the other was a glass ball. I told you, the one I wore was fake. Just in that moment when Ebony Maw was distracted, Wong, who had broken free, took the opportunity to teleport in front of Strange. He stabbed the mind blade of the goddess Oxite into Strange's forehead. This gentle light blade didn't cause any physical harm, but instead awakened Strange. What you went through so much trouble to steal is just a craft item sold for $15 in our gift shop. Didn't you see it when you came over just now? There were a bunch on the shelves. Strangel woke up. Seeing Ebony Maw's stunned expression in the shards of glass in its hand, he immediately understood the reason. He immediately delivered a critical hit. Ah ah ah. Ebony Maw threw away the plastic debris and glass shards in its hand. Roaring, it was about to launch an attack. Suddenly, a figure emerged. The surrounding space seemed to freeze in an instant. A terrifying killing intent, as if substantial, enveloped Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf. What level of aura is this? A thought popped into Ebony Maw's mind. The whole person was then forcibly carried by an irresistible and terrifying force, tearing through space. Arriving in another world. The whole process happened very quickly. Almost in the blink of an eye, Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf found themselves in a world full of magma. The surrounding temperature instantly rose by tens of degrees. Roar. Come on, you damn magicians. Black Dwarf was still roaring, eyes closed, swinging its war hammer randomly. But Ebony Maw trembled and gently tapped it. What's wrong? Black Dwarf opened its eyes. Only then did it realize that the group of magicians who were fighting against them with the counterattack storm had disappeared. The scene it was in had also changed from Kamar Taj to a lava world? Look up. Ebony Maw's trembling voice pointed upwards. Black Dwarf looked up, and then, its heart stopped. Those were more than a dozen huge disc-like eyeballs. When Black Dwarf looked up, these dozen or so huge eyeballs were also staring straight at it. Kuagezi is lying on the ground like a starfish. Its massive tentacles are spread out all around, like towering peaks, supporting its main body. Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf are as tiny as grains of rice beneath it. In other words, for Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf, Kuagezi is like the sky, above their heads. More than 10 huge eyeballs, like several full moons, stare straight at them. What kind of monster is this? Black Dwarf, who is usually fearless, is now feeling a sense of horror. Especially when he looks up at those 10+ eyeballs. Black Dwarf's brain feels like it has been hit by a blunt hammer. His consciousness starts to blur, and he sees various grotesque and nauseating illusions. Those tentacles. Those are eyeballs. Those indescribable monsters. It's Mephisto from the dimensional space. Don't look at it. Ebony Maw, who is skilled at manipulating people's minds, doesn't even dare to lift his head. I heard that you were looking for this thing? Just then, a cold voice comes from the side, accompanied by a familiar aura. Ebony Maw recognizes it. It was this aura that forcibly brought them to this world. I am Ebony Maw under Thanos' command. May I ask, sir? Ebony Maw brings up Thanos' name. At the same time, he glances in the direction where the voice came from. It's a human. Looks like an ordinary human. But the aura emanating from him is more terrifying and evil than the dimensional space Mephisto above their heads. With just one glance, you can see various eerie illusions surrounding this human: tentacles, darkness, crowns, flames. The overwhelming evil almost covers half of the sky. Sir. Ebony Maw was about to speak. Then he saw the eye of Agamotto in Chu Shu's hand. This is real. Ebony Maw didn't need to guess, he knew for sure that this was absolutely real. Because no one dared to deceive a being scarier than the dimensional Mephisto. But knowing it was useless. Because no one dared to snatch something from the hands of a being scarier than the dimensional Mephisto. Sir, there may have been some misunderstanding between us. We only intend to deal with the magicians of Kamar Taj, and have no intention of offending your dimensional Mephisto. In fact, I personally have immense respect for the dimensional Mephisto. Ebony Maw didn't even dare to use his own race's bewitching ability. He kept lowering himself. Mainly because I didn't know this thing was in your hands. If I had known, even if you gave me 10,000 times the courage, I wouldn't dare to have any ideas about it. Ebony Maw's slender body bent almost 90 degrees. His head hung low. He didn't dare to look Chu Shu in the eye. Let alone the eye of Agamotto in Chu Shu's hand. But, didn't you say that when we came? Black Dwarf just snapped out of his shock from Quicksilver's attack. Then he heard a different conversation from Ebony Maw. He foolishly said, didn't you say? No matter who has the gem, you would kill them to get the gem? And you also said that besides this one, I have to help you snatch other gems to make you the new universal ruler. That's enough. Shut up. Ebony Maw was startled. Throughout the journey, it had been using its ability to bewitch people's hearts, bewitching Black Dwarf. But unexpectedly, it had now overturned in this place. After being exposed by Black Dwarf, Ebony Maw turned his head awkwardly, attempting to explain forcefully. Sir, this is really an accident. We were in Dimension Mephisto with you. Chu Shu quietly watched Ebony Ma's performance from the side. Until the other party exhausted their vocabulary and didn't know what else to say. Chu Shu coldly said, "Kill him." "Yes." Hearing this, Quags didn't hesitate. More than a dozen large eyeballs emitted a deep purple light. "No, no, no. You can't kill me, we've never provoked you. I don't even know your name." Ebony Ma panicked. The strong scent of death from above made its fur stand on end. But just as it was about to escape, tentacles appeared out of thin air, entangling it and Black Dwarf, trapping them in place. "I am the ruler of the universe, a subordinate of Thanos. You can't kill me. I can surrender to you. Offer my soul." Ebony Ma didn't finish speaking. More than a dozen deep purple beams of light fell from above. The beams of annihilation instantly destroyed everything. Ebony Ma and Black Dwarf didn't even last a second. They had long disappeared by the time the annihilation rays ended. To be precise, not even a basic particle that composed their bodies was left, completely vanished. Along with the two of them, a deep bottomless hole appeared in the ground. "Cassie, ah no, Lord Chu Shu. Next time you summon me, can you choose a place that's not so hot?" After eliminating Ebony Ma and Black Dwarf, Quag lowered his body and said with a hint of grievance. "This place doesn't even have a place to stand, it's full of magma. Although the body of Dimension Mephisto wouldn't be burned by magma at a temperature of over 1000 degrees, it's still really hot. Alright, I'll send you to a place that's not so hot." Chu Shu directly took out an exorcism card. Upon seeing this thing, Quagashin instantly panicked. "Bro, it's not necessary. Just tell me where to go. No need to send. Really, no need to send." Quagashin frantically waved his tentacles. Afraid of being teleported by Chu Shu to some terrible place. "Look at you, so timid. You go by yourself, remember to pay the rent on time this month." Chu Shu gave Quagashin a set of coordinates. The address is, Rania Kea Supercluster, Virgo Cluster, Local Group, Milky Way, Orion Arm, Gould Belt, Local Bubble, Local Interstellar Cloud, Oort Cloud, Solar System. Speak in human language, it means outside of Earth. Chu Shu originally had no intention of getting involved in the script of Avengers Alliance 3, Infinite War. After all, Thanos is not there, and a bunch of rookies fighting each other would only lower his own level if he joined. But Ebony Ma's act of stealing homes has truly angered Chu Shu. If you want to fight, then fight. Why steal homes? This time, Kamar Taj was attacked. If someone takes advantage of his absence and attacks the holy place in New York next time. Although the possibility of a successful attack is not very high. After all, the Ancient One is there. But what if? What if something happens to Wanda, Gwen, Sky, Black Cat? If any of them are in trouble. It won't be as simple as two people dying, by then. Anyone with the last name, Destroy, will die. Even the dogs on Titan will get slapped. In order to prevent such home-stealing behavior from happening again. Chu Shu wasted no time and sent Quagashin over to deliver a blow. And without a second thought, Quagashin, who received the coordinates, tore through space and left the dimension of hell. Wait. Did I forget to tell Quagashin which side is the enemy and which side is the teammate? Within the solar system, Corvus Glaive's fleet has not yet arrived on Earth. Attilan on the moon has fired the first shot. Interstellar war has officially begun. This is the first time that humans have participated in a war beyond the surface of a planet. Even the Inhumans on the moon, Attilan, before this. They have never engaged in large-scale conflicts with other civilizations. In contrast, Corvus Glaive's fleet has already conquered countless planets and participated in numerous interstellar wars. So from the beginning, this battle is a high-level player's strike against a newbie. But, is this really the case? Humans are an interesting species. When humans picked up spears and stood at the top of the Earth's food chain. For countless years after that, every weapon developed by this species was only for one purpose, to kill their own kind. In self-destruction, humans have never felt tired. The most cutting-edge technology of humans is always used for slaughter. They pour all their imagination and creativity into killing and destruction. War. It has never stopped since the birth of human civilization. Similar behavior only occurs in a few of the most brutal species in the galaxy, including the Flora Colossus race that Groot belongs to. But these naturally ferocious species have all been besieged by civilizations throughout the universe. Groot, for example, has become the last Flora Colossus in the entire universe. This species that specializes in killing is too dangerous. Especially their potential for war. There is no species or civilization in the entire universe that does not guard against them, even filled with hostility. But humans are different. Humans are very good at disguising themselves. Their ferocity is hidden behind art, music, poetry, painting, and peace. To the point where the entire universe underestimates the war potential of this species. Treating humans as ants. Regarded as the research subject. And now, Corvus Glaive is leading his fleet, opening this Pandora's box. General, the main ship is under attack, defense barrier strength decreased by 1%. Hey, feudal struggle. Inside Holy Place number 2. Corvus Glaive listens to the reports from his subordinates. There is a strong disdain in his eyes. They are treating the moon as a base of operations, attempting to block us from Earth? What a wild idea. The scanning device in Holy Place number 2 has already discovered the alien city on the moon, Atlantis. This used to be a research base left behind by the alien race, the Kree, in the southern region. Thousands of years ago, the Kree artificially created the alien race by modifying human genes. Causal loop. Now, the alien race has also established a city, Atlantis, using the Kree's research base. The recent bombardment was a defense cannon built by the alien race using Kree technology left on the moon. Since they want to fight us in space, let them have their wish. Send out half of the Chitauri ships, half of the Leviathan main ships, and all of the Necrocrafts, at the same time. The annihilation cannon begins charging. If the situation goes awry, then destroy the satellite called the moon with a single shot. Corvus Glaive coldly gave the order. A lion pounces on a rabbit and uses all its strength, although Corvus Glaive looks down on the feeble resistance of humans. As a seasoned warrior, it knows. No matter how much it despises the enemy, it must never be arrogant in tactical execution. Soon. With Corvus Glaive's command, Holy Place number 2, as massive as a planet fortress, immediately swarms with a large number of Chitauri ships and over 10 colossal Leviathan warships, resembling space whales. And beside Holy Place number 2, several Necrocrafts that originally belonged to the Accuser Ronin also release a large number of Necrocrafts. After the Accuser Ronin died at the hands of Star-Lord and his team, these Necro warships and Necro spacecraft were also incorporated into Thanos' fleet. Now, under the command of Corvus Glaive, the two fleets approach the moon in a grand manner, as if to shield the planet. Hurry, hurry, you primitive beings who have never fought in interstellar wars. Today, Rocket will teach you how to fight in interstellar wars. Watch closely. Learn well, watching the approaching enemy forces. Rocket Raccoon not only showed no fear, instead, he was unusually excited. Pulling little Groot, he entered the spaceship and took the lead in charging out of the moon. Hey, 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 can you hear me? Quickly leave the surface of the planet. Rocket's first lesson in teaching interstellar wars: never stay on the surface of a planet and become a live target. After Rocket piloted the spaceship away from the moon, he didn't forget to urge Tony and the others on the channel. Does this rabbit think we've never been in a battle? The god of war, Ares, and the god of strength, Hercules, two Greek gods, complained dissatisfiedly. Take up your weapons. Jump directly into space with your physical body. Stark, right? Don't listen to Rocket, you're much more useful than him. At least the flight backpack you made won't make my boobs uncomfortable. Drax the Destroyer wore the flight backpack provided by Tony Stark. As he spoke, he directly charged out of the surface of the moon. Immediately after, Stark's gaze fell on Quicksilver. Don't look at me, I will never use something you made. Quicksilver noticed Stark's gaze and immediately retorted. Buddy, I know you have opinions about me. But without a battlesuit, how can you survive in space? Just as Tony was about to persuade him, Quicksilver skillfully put on a layer of magic shield for himself. Then he cast the Valtor's levitation magic on himself. After completing all of this, Quicksilver stepped directly onto the magic circle. Walking on air, he transformed into a silver lightning bolt and rushed out of the moon. This is magic, unreasonable, right? Tony felt a bit embarrassed and turned to look at the Black Bat King. He tried to salvage some face by making small talk. But the Black Bat King didn't say anything, he just silently put on his specially made battlesuit. Then he flew out of the moon with his carefully selected elite alien race. Is he always this aloof? Tony shook his head slightly. He closed his visor, flames burst out from under his feet, and he soared into the sky. Alongside him, Jarvis-controlled hundreds of Iron Legion troops also took flight. Sir, it's a pleasure to fight alongside you. Old Jarvis, those idiots from the United Nations wanted me to delete you, luckily I didn't listen to them. Otherwise, today would have been a disaster. Tony had just flown into space. The scene before him would be unforgettable for the rest of his life. The rocket piloted the spacecraft, shuttling through the dense enemy forces, like a needle threading through space, dodging various colored rays, energy cannons, lasers. Each time was incredibly thrilling, but each time was full of danger. Meanwhile, Hagrid, Ares, and Drax went straight for those space whales. They charged towards those colossal creatures with their small bodies. And in the end, there were silent explosions one after another. As for Quicksilver, he turned into silver lightning, connecting into thin lines in space. As precise as a surgical knife, he killed the alien spacecraft along the way with a single blow. Old Jarvis, watch us now. No problem, sir. Soon. Tony and his Iron Legion also joined the battle. Haha, it's not difficult at all, Hercules laughed. He had just killed another Chitauri Leviathan warship. He got into the bloody mouth of this giant dragon-like beast, rampaged all the way, and finally fought his way out from the monster's belly. Silent explosions adorned deep space, careful. However, before Hercules could smile for 2 more seconds, in the surrounding star field, thousands of undead spacecraft pointed their spearheads at him. Densely packed energy cannons, forming an airtight firepower network. Even the son of the god king in Greek mythology cannot withstand such a high-intensity and high-density attack. Hercules could only raise his arms. Protect your head. Taking advantage of the wreckage of the Leviathan battleship at his feet, he jumped up and tried to fight his way out of the encirclement. Hercules, go on. Seeing his brother surrounded, Ares, the god of war, threw his battle axe in the direction of Hercules. Similar to Thor's Stormbreaker, Ares' battle axe also has the ability to automatically recall. Thanks, brother. Hercules, who was covered in bruises, glanced and noticed the speeding battle axe. But he was about to reach out and take it. Boom. A dazzling beam of energy, it enveloped him instantly. Unlike the laser cannons of those individual spaceships, this cannon came from another Leviathan main ship not far away from 75. This biological spacecraft looks like a whale in space, with its mouth wide open. It is also a transport ship. It is also the main battleship. The powerful reaction cannon in his mouth is enough to penetrate the energy shields of all mainstream space battleships. Hercules, who was hit by it, instantly lost his reaction. The originally burly body lost twice as much weight. There is not a complete epidermis on the whole body. Looking at it from a distance, like a group of charred black dead wood, it was captured by the moon's gravity and slowly fell down. Hercules. Ares recalled his battle axe and was about to rescue his brother. Another beam of light swept towards him. Fortunately, a bolt of silver lightning moved his body away at the critical moment. No time to be sentimental now, big guy. There are too many enemies. After Quicksilver dropped a sentence, it turned into a silver lightning again and saved Drax on the other side. Damn it. Stark. Where is your Iron Legion? The rocket drove the spacecraft, constantly completing various extremely difficult maneuvers. Even these undead spaceships are artificially manufactured cheap units. But there are so many of them that they can stand it. While completing the high-speed maneuver, the rocket destroyed several spacecraft in front of it and glanced back. This glance almost scared Rocket's little heart out of his chest. Stark, if you don't come, I will die. There are thousands of spaceships biting me. Rocket cursed and cursed. Sudden. A beam of energy cannon failed to dodge in time and hit the left wing of Rocket's spacecraft. Suddenly, alarms sounded on the instrument panel. Gonna die. Gonna die. I'm Groot. Rocket's eyes are about to burst. The little Groot standing on his shoulder was so scared that he closed his eyes. But death did not come. Rocket glanced behind him. But they found that the group of undead spaceships exploded into silent flames like firecrackers. Stop yelling, Lil Raccoon, you're not the only one being surrounded. Iron Man fought his way out of the siege under the cover of dozens of Iron Legion machines. Originally, there were hundreds of Iron Legion units controlled by Jarvis. Now less than half of it has been damaged. What a monster. How many enemies do we have to deal with? Where is that silent Moon King? Isn't he our reinforcement? Rocket looked around, trying to find traces of Black Bolt and the others. But everywhere you look there are enemies, explosions, fires, wreckage, and dazzling beams of light. Damn it, don't you have a spaceship on Earth? Rocket Raccoon asked angrily. Tony was speechless. Just when Tony didn't know how to answer, a familiar voice suddenly appeared on the channel. A little trivia. Our Shield's Kunkin fighter can enter space. Braised Eggman Nick Fury's voice appeared on the channel. Appears along with the sound. There are also hundreds of Quinjets flying from the direction of Earth. SHIELD has spent all its resources at this time. Even the Quinjet transport aircraft, which originally did not have combat functions, was urgently transformed into a combat aircraft and equipped with weapons and equipment. Tony Stark, please hold on for a moment. Wakanda's fighter planes are coming. Black Panther T'Challa's voice also appears on the channel. His original mission was to follow Star-Lord and the others into Holy Place number 2. But later, this task was eventually given to the second-generation Ant-Man Scott. Black Panther remains on Earth, now leading Wakanda's vibranium spaceship to come for support. Tony was just about to ask you guys, what about the Earth? Nick Fury seemed to have guessed his thoughts. Said directly, don't worry on Earth, the world has entered a stage of war. America, Dongfang, Big Bear, White countries have formed a joint force. This time, no politics, no conflicts, no intrigues. If what these aliens are doing is something good, that's when their arrival made us humans unite for the first time. Nick Fury's voice came out from the channel, showing a coldness. That's right. As I said at the beginning, Pandora's box has been opened. 8 billion mad dogs, out of the cage, very good. Fortunately, I changed careers early, Tony made a little joke. This means that if you are still an arms dealer, you will go bankrupt sooner or later. After all of humanity is united. Who were the weapons sold to? Okay, if you're bragging, save it for the celebration banquet. Only if we can survive until then. Rocket Raccoon breaks down Tony and Nick Fury's conversation. The current situation. Don't talk about human union. Maybe even the support from S.H.I.E.L.D. and Wakanda hasn't arrived yet, and their vanguard force will have to finish first. What about the Inhumans? A question arose in Tony's mind. But the next second, his question was answered. I saw a terrible energy suddenly exploded in the place where the enemy spacecraft was densest. That energy spreads out in the form of sound waves. Along the way, whether it's a Necron spaceship, a Chitauri battleship, or even those huge Leviathan battleships, they exploded into space firework. Sound obviously cannot be transmitted through a vacuum. But Tony still heard an eardrum-breaking roar. Saw. No. See. Get out. Tai. Yang. System. Saw. No. See. Get out. Tai. Yang. System. Black Bolt stands in space, word by word. Every sound he made turned into destructive energy. It's a sound like onomatopoeia. In space, spreading outward in a form visible to the naked eye. The affected enemy spacecraft exploded in pieces, and their wreckage turned into countless space junk. Just a few roars. Black Bolt destroyed thousands of enemy ships. Directly clearing a star field, the battlefield of the scheduled killing was divided into silence. Inside Holy Place number 2, Corvus Glaive was also shocked by the scene in front of him. He didn't expect that there would be so many powerful people on this small Earth. This is after they have conducted an in-depth investigation. It is certain that Ancient One's strength has been greatly reduced. Confirmed Odin is missing. It can almost be said that this war was launched with sufficient preparation. But who would have thought? Hercules, Ares, Quicksilver, Drax. On this planet located at the edge of the Milky Way, there are actually so many level universe powerhouses. This class also has another title in the universe, Space Marine. Meaning, a walking starship. The strength of a single player is comparable to that of a mainstream level planet battleship. Even more terrifying is Black Bolt. Corvus Glaive couldn't understand how Space Warrior could exert a combat power comparable to that of a god. That's right. Black Bolt's original strength is no different from Hercules and others. Basically, it belongs to the category of Space Marines. But the roar it makes has destructive power comparable to level Godfather. Are Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf back? Corvus Glaive asked. We just lost contact with Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf. What? Hear the answer to this. Corvus Glaive's hawk-like eyes suddenly became sharp. The two of them didn't even get a single gem, right? Corvus Glaive felt uneasy in his heart. Although Ebony Maw has come to fight him quickly, his strength is still guaranteed. Plus with the help of Black Dwarf, even if the two of them can't take the gem, nothing will happen, right? Corvus Glaive comforts himself. But the uneasiness in my heart became stronger and stronger. No. I can't play with them anymore. Prepare the Annihilation main gun. Blow up that satellite called the Moon for me. Corvus Glaive gave an order. The man next to him controlling the main gun immediately aimed at the Moon. Button pressed. But nothing happened. General, the main ship was attacked. An intruder has sneaked into Holy Place number 2, trying to shut down the weapon system. General Proxima Midnight is fighting the invaders. Just when Corvus Glaive was confused, another piece of bad news reached his ears. But this time, a cold smile appeared on Corvus Glaive's lips. Sure enough, it's here. That's right. Corvus Glaive had long anticipated the arrival of Star-Lord and his party. And he sent his wife, Proxima Midnight, early to station in the main control room of Holy Place number 2. Damn. Why'd I feel like our plan has been leaked? Inside Holy Place number 2. The teleported Star-Lord and his team are no match for Proxima Midnight. If it weren't for Modu who was keeping them in check, Star-Lord and his team would have been wiped out by now. Scott. Go and turn off the weapon system. It's up to you. I'll try my best. The second-generation Ant-Man Scott replaced Black Panther and joined the infiltration team. Now thanks to this temporary change, if Ant-Man hadn't shrunk in size, he would have taken advantage of Proxima Midnight's fight with Mordo and others. He got in and turned off the weapons control system. Then just now, Corvus Glaive gave an order. The moon is estimated to have become a planetary remnant. But the current situation is not optimistic. The shutdown control system is automatically restarting. And Proxima Midnight's strength is stronger than expected, especially the spear in her hand. Every throw, the spear will split into 3. Transformed into 3 dark energies with lethal properties. Anyone hit will die instantly. Fortunately, everyone has the magic barrier provided by Modu, but this is just a little more insignificant protection. Once attacked twice in a row by Proxima Midnight's spear, even the gods can't save him. Everyone had to work up their spirits. He also became timid in fighting. Scott. The weapon system is about to restart. Turn it off. I know. Please don't rush me. Ant-Man is sometimes big and sometimes small. Taking advantage of his unpredictable body shape, he tried to sneak into the main control room again. But Proxima Midnight, which suffered a loss once, obviously will not give Ant-Man this opportunity again. Little thing, do you think there will be a next time? Proxima Midnight has recalled its spear. A backhand towards the ground. Boom. Shockwave expands in a ring shape. Scott, who had turned into an ant file size, had no way to avoid it, and was instantly knocked away by this energy. It hit the metal wall of Holy Place number 2 hard. The whole person fell into a coma on the spot. Damn it. The weapon system has restarted. Gamora noticed the flash of light in the weapons control room. He said in an anxious tone. Star-Lord also noticed the antimatter cannon that was recharging. He hurriedly fired several shots at Proxima Midnight, but the opponent easily dodged them one by one. Magician. Teleport me there. Iron Fist doesn't know what antimatter is. But he could feel a terrifying energy contained in the main control room ahead. Iron Fist decided to fight with his life. Even if he would die if he teleported in, he would still give it a try. Haha. It's too late. Proxima Midnight has obviously noticed their thoughts. Immediately launched a more ferocious attack on Modu. Mordo was not given time to cast his spell. And Modu was also desperate in the face of the current situation. He was not a great magician like Wong and could not cast magic instantly. And he was originally a melee magician. Compared to casting spells, he has always been better at melee combat. At the moment, facing the fierce attack of Proxima Midnight, Mordo couldn't spare the time to release the teleportation magic. In the main control room behind him, a reminder that charging was completed came. Proxima Midnight knows. Its mission is accomplished. Gamora, you shouldn't have betrayed us. Accompanied by the cold voice of Proxima Midnight. Holy Place number 2, which is like a planet fortress, slowly reveals its ferocious barrel and aims at the moon. It's over. See this scene. Star-Lord and his party were like people falling into an ice cave. What? Thanos' antimatter cannon is fully charged. Tony and his team, who were fighting hard in space, soon received the news that the infiltration team's mission had failed. Everyone was already surrounded by enemies. I instantly collapsed when I heard the news. No. Black Bolt roared even more. A more powerful onomatopoeic wave erupted than before. Because he knows. Once Thanos' main gun is charged, the first target of the attack will definitely be the moon where Attilan is. And this is also true. No, just when everyone fell into despair. Sudden. A huge space crack appeared in the solar system. No one knew how the crack appeared. Everyone only saw a huge tentacle sticking out from the crack. An understatement of, boom, Holy Place no 2 feet's protective barrier instantly collapsed. A quarter of this huge interstellar battleship was also shot into pieces. The atmosphere on the battlefield seemed to have frozen. Whether it's Tony and others in the battle, or S.H.I.E.L.D. and King Vulcan who were rushing to the battlefield. Or Nick Fury and others are watching the space battle through real-time broadcast on Earth. Everyone was shocked by the scene in front of them. A 10,000-meter-long space crack appeared in space. Huge tentacles stretched out from the cracks. Like an octopus, it entangled itself on Thanos' main ship, Holy Place number 2. Then, the huge tentacled form emerged from the crack. The moment everyone looked directly at it, they felt as if their brains had been hit. Countless hallucinations appeared before my eyes. Only those with stronger strength or tenacious will can barely keep their sand value. Only then can we see the whole picture of Quagos. It was a tentacle monster with more than a dozen huge eyeballs. As soon as it appears, it became entangled in holy place number 2. The huge tentacles directly crushed the shell of the battleship as they entangled. Rumble. And for the people inside holy place number 2. They only feel the end is coming. The terrifying sound caused by the squeezing of the battleship's shell reached the ears from all directions. Metal squeaks. In the main control room, Corvus Glaive's expression completely changed. A huge tentacle hundreds of meters wide directly blocked the battleship's window. Looking out through the transparent window, only the surface of the tentacles, which were as huge as mountains of meat, could be seen. Twisted, sticky, weird. Click, click, click. As the tentacles wrapped around him, the force intensified. Cracks appeared in the window, and the surrounding walls began to twist and dent inward. Hurry up and fire. Fire. Use the antimatter cannon to kill this monster. Corvus Glaive felt fear for the first time. He can swear on his life that this thing is definitely not a product of the earth. This should be a Mephisto from some different dimension. Conscience of heaven and earth. I just invaded an earth. Why did Mephisto come out of another dimension? General. The distance is too close. The antimatter will annihilate us too. Stop talking nonsense and let's fire. At the moment of hesitation, Corvus Glaive rushed forward and seized control of the main gun. He aimed the black muzzle at the monster's trunk, and then pressed the launch button without any hesitation. Let's go. The antimatter cannon is about to be fired. They want to die with this monster. Star-Lord and his team, who were also in holy place number 2, instantly realized the danger. No more fighting. Quickly distance yourself from Proxima Midnight. In Life and Death, Mordo showed a completely different casting speed than before. A melee magician completed the spellcasting action almost instantly and led everyone away from holy place number 2. And almost at the moment when several people teleported away. Boom. Antimatter cannon fired. This is the ultimate weapon that only exists theoretically on Earth. In the universe, it has become a common star-killing weapon among powerful civilizations. 1 gram of antimatter. The energy of annihilation is equivalent to a 20,000-ton nuclear weapon. And now, the antimatter fired by the holy place number 2 cannon. The unit should be ton. Then, the next scene attracted everyone's attention. A blue sun hit the target. When it hit the huge tentacle monster, it also instantly swallowed up holy place number 2. The terrible energy produced by the annihilation of matter and antimatter spreads out in a spherical shape. All matter in its path ceases to exist. Holy place number 2, which can be called the fortress of the planet, was destroyed as quickly as the ice and snow melted. But the huge tentacle monster did not die as expected. It wanders in the annihilation of antimatter like a game. So familiar. But it's far behind my annihilation ray. After Quagos finished speaking, a dozen big eyeballs shot out beams of annihilation light at the same time. Deep purple annihilation energy. Like a sharp arrow, it instantly penetrated the blue antimatter annihilation. The result of the collision of two energies is that one is completely melted by the other. The blue sun has disappeared. It wasn't as devastating as expected. Not to mention killing quarks as Corvus Glaive wanted. On the contrary, the only thing destroyed by this shot from holy place number 2. It's holy place number 2 myself. This battleship, which can be called the fortress of the planet, has now been completely wiped out, with not even a single residue left. The plan to perish together will only end in self-destruction. Quags was unscathed. It slowly stretches its body in space, extending its huge body to the surroundings unscrupulously. It seems as if he wants to show his greatness to the world. Master Chu Shu sent me here. Quagos paused. Because Chu Shu didn't tell it who was the enemy and who was a teammate. So, Quagos was left to judge for himself. Simple. Quagos's dozen big eyes lit up purple at the same time. Similarly, the tips of the dozens of huge tentacles also lit up with the purple light of annihilation rays. Then slowly aimed at Chitauri, Leviathan battleship, and Necromancer spaceship. As long as they are not human beings, they are all enemies. That's right. I'm so smart. Quagos' tentacles moved slowly. Aligned again. Rocket Groot, Drax, Ares, Black Bolt, Inhumans. Whoa. Duh. F.A. What the hell is that? With the destruction of holy place number 2. The battlefield that was once a fierce battle suddenly fell into silence. Tony, who had participated in the first Battle of New York, suddenly thought of something and immediately set his sights on the surrounding Chitauri spaceships. During the war in New York, he carried a nuclear bomb and blew up Chitauri's main ship. Then these Chitauri died one after another as if they had lost their brains. But this time, after Holy Place number 2 was destroyed, nearby Chitauri was not affected at all. Is it just because of the last nuclear explosion? These aliens have changed their command pattern? An explanation popped into Tony's mind, but right now. But this is not the time to delve into this issue. Because with the destruction of Holy Place number 2, the huge tentacled monster is stretching its body, displaying its ferocious and terrifying body in front of the world. The Skyward Sword Bureau base established by S.H.I.E.L.D. in space. The energy detection device above sent a bunch of question marks to the ground. Target level. Energy level. Threat level. Look at the bunch of question marks displayed on the screen. The Hill agent stationed on Earth felt a chill. It's time. Nick Fury scowled. Slowly he took out a pager from his pocket. This is the pager that calls Captain Marvel. Nick Fury used thousands of people to search day and night to fish it out of the sea. And now, it's time to use it. Carol, only you can save the Earth now. Nick Fury muttered. Then he pressed the pager. After a burst of electric sparks, the pager emitted a burst of smoke. It may be that the seawater has corroded the parts, but the screen of the pager does not even light up. Director, do we still have nuclear bombs? After a long silence, Hill asked. Hill, this thing is not even afraid of antimatter annihilation. Do you think nuclear bombs will work on it? Sir, high energy reaction detected. I'm not blind, Jarvis. In space. Tony Stark's ear. Jarvis alerts kept coming. Especially when the huge tentacled monster stretched its body, its eyeballs and the ends of its tentacles glowed with a deep purple light. The sirens are getting louder. Everyone knows that it is a kind of power that can destroy the world. No. Do we have to die here today? Why is the Earth so troubled? Tony fell into self-doubt. Against Thanos, he still has a glimmer of hope of victory. But against that tentacled monster that cavorts in antimatter annihilation, Tony really couldn't see any hope of winning. I'm afraid even if my good brother Chushu comes over, there will be nothing he can do. Just when Tony was in despair, Jarvis suddenly sent out a new prompt. Sir, that creature is not targeting us. What? Tony was stunned for a second when he heard the prompt from Jarvis. And at the moment when he was stunned, far away, Quag's annihilation ray activated, a dozen big eyeballs. Plus a dozen tentacles waving around. Dozens of deep purple annihilation rays are sweeping across the endless space. The picture suddenly became extremely shocking. You can imagine a dozen Velcros being activated at the same time in LOL's clone mode. Back and forth, up and down, left and right. Quag's is like a true planetary fortress, with full force. Dozens of lasers swept through space with precision across the rest of Thanos' army. Chitauri. Necron spaceship, Leviathan battleship. Including 2-star Necron capital ships that once belonged to Ronan the Accuser. All ships. The moment he was touched by these dark purple light pillars, they exploded one after another. The energy shield of the spaceship is as useless as the decoration. It will collapse upon contact. In just a few breaths, the enemy spacecraft that originally covered half of the starfield were wiped out. Only a few spaceships are left, desperately escaping. Even Chitauri, who was known as fearless in space, did not look back at this moment and drove the spacecraft to escape to the outer reaches of the solar system. They will never come to this broken place like Earth again. TMD, come and get beaten once, and it gets more outrageous every time. But how could the escaping Chitauri be faster than the annihilation beam? Let you run away. Wouldn't it appear that Quagos, am doing something bad? Quagos obviously doesn't intend to let any of his enemies go. Especially those who want to escape are often the first to get its attention. Enjoy the annihilation package in advance. Quagos appears. First destroying Thanos' main ship. Then a siege was launched against Thanos' army. All these behaviors made Tony come to an outrageous conclusion. Could it be that, is this big-eyed monster here to help us? Tony guessed it right, but just as he came to his conclusion, Rocket Raccoon, who was not far away, suddenly felt a bone-chilling chill. He was so scared that the hair all over his body stood on end. Oh. Damn it. Damn it. It turns out that one of Quagos' tentacles is pointing at Rocket Raccoon. And it's not just him. With the Chitauri on the field and the undead spaceships destroyed, 788. Quagos quickly turned his attention to other inhuman units. For example, Rocket, Groot, Drax from Guardians of Galaxy. Greek god Ares. There are also the Inhumans headed by Black Bolt. Have to say, Quago's eyes are very vicious. It can distinguish the Inhumans who are almost indistinguishable from humans. No, even someone as powerful as Black Bolt was locked in Quago's big eyes. I also felt a sense of powerless despair. Was a terrifying existence that he couldn't understand. It targeted him with its crushing strength like a dimensionality reduction strike. The conclusion is, there is no hiding. Certain death. Buzz. The annihilation beam was activated again. The first one to be attacked was Ares, the Greek god of war. The terrifying purple energy swept towards him. At the critical moment, Quicksilver once again acted as a firefighter and pushed Ares away. No. You're going to die. Quicksilver. Looking at Quicksilver pushing himself away. An idea finally popped into Ares' mind. But it was too late. Quicksilver pushed Ares away, causing him to fall into the path of the annihilation ray. Just when the drama of Quicksilver rescuing Hawkeye in Avengers: Age of Ultron is about to be played out again in another way. Quags suddenly turned off the eye's beam. It's so dangerous, so dangerous. Why does this human being rush forward? Quago's simple brain obviously couldn't comprehend Quicksilver's behavior. Because in its view, all non-human units on the field are enemies. So Quicksilver's behavior of saving Ares made Quago's very confused. However, before Quago's figured it out, a new mutation has appeared. Boom, a black hole appeared out of thin air in the solar system. Then, a huge red hand stretched out from the black hole, grabbed the edge of the black hole, and walked out. Earth. Your judgment day has come. Judge Elethim just completed his 41st trial mission this month. The next 42nd one is the Earth that gave birth to the god Tiamu. The result of the trial, it does not exist. Elethim has just pronounced the death of a living planet. Then, a body as huge as a planet. He escaped into a black hole and was transported to the solar system tens of thousands of light years away. Earth. Your judgment. Elethim didn't finish his words. Then it was discovered that many eyes were falling on him at the same time. Why is there another one? Is it over yet? Tony's expression was dull. And Ares, who had just escaped from death, couldn't care less about being lucky. Seeing the judge Arisum, the god of war in Greek mythology, he completely lost his will to fight. If he sees Quagos, he is not afraid of those who don't know. But Arithim the judge. Almost every Greek god, no, it should be said that every god in the pantheon has heard of the fame of this member of the celestial god group. Whether it's a Norse god, a Greek god, or any other god. Almost everyone has heard of Judge Elethim. It's over. Ares is well aware of the strength of Judge Elethim. Stop talking about him. Even if his father Zeus is here, he will find the Nordic god King Odin. The two god kings join forces. They may not even be able to deal with Elethim. Is this guy more powerful than that tentacle monster? Quicksilver asked Ares. Forehead. Have no idea. Ares shook his head. He who does not know is not afraid, he only knows the god Elethim. On the earth. Nick Fury and others were just shocked by Quag's appearance. Now see Elethim, the god of heaven. Everyone was completely silent. The king of agents no longer has the arrogance of the past. Because in the face of this absolute crushing power, any conspiracy and tricks are like playing house, and the craftsmanship is childish. Sir, this should be the celestial team that Tony Stark mentioned to us last time. Hill's voice was trembling. After the Eternals crisis was resolved, Tony Stark informed S.H.I.E.L.D. about the Eternals, Celestials, and mutants. The main purpose is to let S.H.I.E.L.D. search and destroy mutant monsters on the Earth. And now, the moment Hill saw the god Elethim, then he realized that this was the member of the celestial team that Stark mentioned last time. Tony Stark mentioned it back then. In the future, a member of the celestial god group will come to judge the life and death of the Earth. It must be him. Hill felt his throat was a little hoarse. In front of this level universe god, she really couldn't think of any way to resist. Just when Hill was desperate, Nick Fury, who had been silent all this time, also spoke. He is even more desperate. Hill, let everyone go home and spend this last moment with their families. Nick Fury has completely lost his arrogance as the king of agents. The successive blows made him deeply despair. I also have to go home and spend time with my wife. Sir? You. When did you get married? Haha, it was a long time ago. When the Skrulls came to Earth, I and one of them. One of the Skrull girls fell in love, in this moment of despair. Nick Fury also revealed his true feelings and told the secrets buried deep in his heart. But he didn't notice, as soon as these words came out. The surrounding S.H.I.E.L.D. agents all showed strange expressions. Phil Coulson even opened his mouth wide, as if he heard something unbelievable. Damn it. Skrulls. Isn't he that the green-skinned monster goblin in the game? The director has such a strong taste. Director, may I take the liberty of asking how you became blind in your left eye? Hill Agent raised his head and glanced at the space scene on the big screen. He tried hard not to let his flaws show on his face. Asked. What can't you say? It's already this time. Nick Fury turned his back to the big screen and shook his head. He slowly took off his blindfold. Before that, everyone thought that the director's left eye must have been in some shocking battle. Blinded by some extremely terrifying enemy, Nick Fury said so. Caught by a cat. As soon as these words came out, everyone in S.H.I.E.L.D. immediately showed expressions of, I see. Nick Fury also noticed that something was wrong with everyone's expressions at this time. He looked back sharply. Wipe. Where are the gods? Where is a big god like me? Director, God left early that day. That's when you broke the news that your wife was a Skrull. At this time, Phil Coulson also didn't forget to add a critical hit. And Nick Fury was silent. A murderous aura appeared inside S.H.I.E.L.D. You know too much, Director? Calm down. We have forgotten. Really, all forgotten. Phil Coulson definitely did not upload this news to the internet. Right? Phil Coulson. Say something. That's right. Judge Elysium is gone. He comes quickly. Run faster. Almost as soon as he descended into the solar system and saw clearly the surrounding situation. To be precise, after seeing Quagos, he left without looking back. Sorry, I came to the wrong galaxy. Quagos was also stunned. I was happily grabbing French fries. Enjoy the feeling of abuse when a superboss comes to the novice village and kills everyone. In the end, I haven't killed much. A superboss who is stronger than me suddenly appears. That's right. In terms of strength, Elysium is much more powerful than Quagos. After all, Elysium is also one of the strongest among the gods in level single universe per capita. Naturally, it is not a problem to deal with Quagos, whose current strength has been greatly reduced. He was robbed by someone, defrauded all his savings, and asked for protection money every month. Elysium came over and left after just one look. No mention was made of judging the earth. Am I so powerful? Even the gods in the main dimension have heard of my reputation? Quagos also suffered from self-doubt, and just when he was stunned, a figure flew over from a distance. It's Tony Stark. Sir, you are sending yourself to death. I know, but Jarvis, I am not destined to die once or twice. Have you ever seen me really dead? Tony gritted his teeth, and flew towards Quag's big eyeball. Just now. The scene where Ares is saved through Quicksilver. Tony made a bold judgment. He believed that this octopus monster would not harm humans, so he planned to put himself at risk. See if I can communicate with this monster. Quagos was also stunned. It knew that there was a human being inside the thin iron shell, so it did not attack. Sir. Never look directly into the target's eyes. Well, dozens of eyes. I know. Jarvis, I definitely know. Tony inside the armor closed his eyes tightly, relinquishing command of the armor to Jarvis. But despite this, after getting close to Quagos, Tony's brain was buzzing and painful, and countless distorted hallucinations appeared in his mind. Ah. Tony gritted his teeth and resisted the discomfort in his brain. Sudden. The hallucination is gone. Only a majestic voice appeared in Lily's mind. Mia. Human being. What are you here for? Human. What are you here for? Quagos originally wanted to pretend to be a musician. Say something like, little human, bala bala. But when he thought of Choo Choo's emotionless face, Quags even became more honest when he spoke. Tony was stunned. Then I quickly realized that this was the big octopus communicating with me. Are you from our side? Nonsense. I'm not from your human side. Am I still from the monster side? Quagos used his huge tentacles to dazzle rocket raccoons in the distance. But they are also from our side? Forehead. Quagos was stunned. It was vaguely aware that it might have made another mistake. Okay, I made a typo. Sorry. That's it for now, don't say bad things about me. Quagos gave a small warning. Then he waved his tentacles. He opened a huge crack and got in without looking back. When Tony opened his eyes, Quagos was no longer in front of him. Everything comes and goes faster. Everyone else on the battlefield was also confused. Big eyes stare at small eyes. What is this thing called? Deploy multiple lines of defense before the war. As a result, except for the first line of defense, the rest of the were all in trouble. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Kunkan fighter and Wakanda's vibranium aircraft are still flying slowly in the distance between the Earth and the Moon. Originally, everyone was prepared to fight to the death. The beginning of a tragic story, It ends with an open-ended nonsensical story. The god Eletham ran over and took a look, then ran away without looking back. Thanos' fleet is coming. In the end, he was slapped away by an octopus monster of unknown origin. At last. Even this giant octopus didn't conquer the Earth. It hasn't even communicated with a second human except Tony. It seems that the purpose of its coming here is to destroy Thanos' fleet. After finishing, pat your butt and leave. It seems that in its eyes, humans and the Earth are as inconspicuous as bugs on the roadside. So, it's over. Tony flies back near the moon. Looking at the regrouped Rocket, Quicksilver, Black Bat King, Ares, and others. Everyone stared. I will never come to this place on your Earth again. Rocket Raccoon leads Groot out of the smoking spaceship. The voice was trembling with fear. When it was locked by Quagos just now, the strong aura of death almost scared it out of its pee. Guys, have you noticed a problem? It seems we didn't see Thanos. The voices of Star-Lord and his team, who had previously sneaked into Holy Place number 2, appeared in the channel. When Corvus Glaive ordered the antimatter cannon to be fired, Mordo showed an unprecedented casting speed and almost instantly cast a teleportation spell, taking them away from Holy Place number 2. Quill, I was worried about you. It's great to hear that you're okay. Rocket Raccoon originally thought that Star-Lord and his team had been buried with Holy Place number 2. Now that I heard that they were all fine, I was relieved. So does this count as saving the galaxy again? Yeah, again. I guess Thanos was also killed along with Holy Place number 2, right? It is finally over. Just when everyone was sighing that everything had settled. Quicksilver and Mordo, who had been silent at the side, the two magicians seemed to have discovered something. No, it's not over yet. Mordo released a teleportation spell. The target is Thanos' hometown, Titan, the sixth moon of Saturn. I'll go get more people. Quicksilver also released a teleportation spell. It's just that the target of his teleportation is the Earth. So close. What kind of monster is that thing? On Titan. Corvus Glaive and his wife Proxima Midnight. He was sitting on the ground in a panic. Before the explosion, the two successfully escaped from Holy Place 2 using the spacecraft's teleportation device. Arrive at Titan. Surrounded by a devastated city that has long been turned into ruins. This was once the place where Thanos was born, Thanos' home planet. Later, when Thanos came of age, he destroyed the planet by himself. Definitely. Thanos himself doesn't admit it. His external statement is that the planet is self-destructing due to excessive population growth and supply imbalance. But anyone with some brains knows. If Titan, which was highly technologically advanced at the time, was really on the verge of life and death due to excessive population growth, they could completely drive a spaceship to colonize the Earth. After all, they are all in the same solar system. It takes 3 or 2 steps. Just walk through the door and you're there. What should we do now? The mission failed and the fleet was wiped out. Thanos won't forgive us when he comes back. Proxima Midnight, the left arm of Proxima Centauri, is affected by the energy of antimatter annihilation. Now there is only one sleeve left, but compared to a broken arm. She was more worried about Thanos' punishment when he returned. Corvus Glaive obviously understands this. Don't worry, we failed this time just because we suffered from that monster. But the monster obviously can't stay on Earth forever. As far as I know, that should be Mephisto, the dimension of some other dimension. Corvus Glaive was very knowledgeable and quickly analyzed the solution. Let's hide on Titan for a while so that the country can take the limelight. Let's go back to base camp. Wait until we gather a team again in the Dark Quadrant and kill another carbine. At that time, these humans will definitely not think of. Corvus Glaive didn't finish his words. 2 golden portals appeared in front of it. Let its voice cease suddenly. Tony, Mordo, Star-Lord, Black Bolt, Ares, Drax, Rocket. There were dozens of people in front and behind. Come out of the portal on the left one after another. Quicksilver, Captain America, Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Winter Soldier, War Machine, Wasp. There are dozens of people again. Come out of the portal on the right. The crowd was filled with murderous intent and surrounded Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. Tell me, keep talking, how do you plan to counterattack? Tony asked coldly. Forehead. After seeing the current situation clearly. Corvus Glaive smiled awkwardly. Can we exchange a piece of information for our husband and wife's life? Like, Thanos is missing? Roar. Corvus Glaive's response was Hulk's roar. Then, there was a back and forth of 18 left and right swings, the kind exclusive to Loki. The other side outside the solar system. Judge Eletham said nothing. Obediently listened to the negotiation conversation of a human in front of you. Then your name is Eletham. You're just pretending. What are you doing with labor and management? Pick up your ears. The iconic feature of Judge Alethim is the 6 eyes on his head. Arranged in a standard mahjong 6-tube shape, a majestic golden light shot out from inside. To be honest, Chu Shu's first thought when he saw Alethim was that these gods were all mahjong-faced, right? This 6-tube, that 9-tube, this 3-tube, that 80,000. We usually get together. The gods of the universe lined up in a row and looked at the cards on each person's face. Make a straight, hit a pair, touch, east, west, south, north, center. Put aside these malicious speculations about the god group. Chu Shu's negotiation went very smoothly this time. That's right. Alethim's departure had nothing to do with quags. Chu Shu, who purely persuades people with reason, used his unique negotiation method to successfully persuade Alethim to leave. In fact, Alethim's strength is no less than Chu Shu. Or should I say the other way around, as a famous person among the gods. Alethim's hard power is undoubtedly greater than that of Chu Shu. After all, Chu Shu has just entered the single universe. And Alethim, even among all the gods, is one of the best. So in theory, Alethim should be absolutely honest and frivolous. B. The reason why theory is theory. It was because Chu Shu took out the all-black death sword with his backhand. The earth should exist, after feeling the breath of the all-black death sword. The judge, Alethim, made his judgment on the earth almost instantly. The earth is very valuable. It's definitely worth sacrificing a god for this. No way. The characteristics of the all-black death sword are here. Even if an ordinary person holds it, he can become a godslayer who kills gods in one fell swoop. Just like Gao from the 616 universe, and when Chu Shu, who was originally level single universe, took the sword. Let's put it this way. Anyway, Alethim has always been known for his ruthless face and rigorous judgment. Suddenly it became easier to talk. Hi, isn't it just a Tiamu? How can it be compared with the earth, and I, Alethim, am known for respecting other people's wishes. Since Diamu herself doesn't want to be born, then it's settled and everyone will just pretend that nothing happened. Brother, I am leaving, please stay and don't see me off. Although Alethim's original words were not like this. But rounding it off, that's pretty much what it means. With Alethim's departure, the crisis on Earth has finally come to an end. In fact, it is not a crisis. Chu Shu has no sense of urgency anyway. The only pity is that Alethim has no head iron. There was no chance for the god slaying blade to be unsheathed, otherwise Zio would have wanted to try the feeling of killing the gods. I wonder if cutting off the heads of these gods can make a mahjong game. Can only say, Chu Shu's brain circuit is always novel. After sending Alethim away, Chu Shu did not continue to stay in the outer reaches of the solar system. After all, there was nothing to stay in this dark space. Put away the all-black death sword. Chu Shu glanced back in the direction of Titan. So lively. On Titan. Avengers and Guardians of Galaxy number dozens. Corvus Glaive, the leader of the 5 Obsidian generals under Thanos, is forming a circle. Performing righteous circle kicks. When Chu Shu teleports over. Corvus Glaive and his wife Proxima Midnight, 2 people who have left a great reputation in the galaxy, have already vented their anger. Chu Shu, are you here? Seeing Chu Shu, Tony immediately came over. Tony had a hint of doubt in his eyes. Especially when he learned from Corvus Glaive that Thanos had disappeared, his doubts became even more intense. Chu Shu, didn't you already know that you couldn't destroy it? So you said, leave Thanos to you and let us deal with the others? Tony looked at Chu Shu suspiciously. Based on his knowledge of Chu Shu, the probability that Chu Shu would do such a thing is about 99%. The other 1% is that he is too lazy to do it. Slander. He slandered me. Chu Shu severely reprimanded Tony for spreading rumors. Then he walked in the direction of Corvus Glaive. TMD, can't you be gentler? After all, they have come all the way here. If you fight like this, people will think that we Earthlings don't know how to treat guests. Look at the miserable state of Corvus Glaive. Chu Shu severely reprimanded everyone in the Avengers Alliance for their kicking behavior. Then, he stepped forward and kicked Corvus Glaive twice. Stop pretending to be dead, Jane, please do something. Corvus Glaive's swollen eyes revealed a hint of confusion. Do you think I'm pretending to be like this? Tell me everything you know about Thanos' disappearance. Chu Shu squatted next to Corvus Glaive. Bored, he picked up Corvus Glaive's sword and played with it while asking questions. Don't. Corvus Glaive was originally only 1 breath away. See this scene. He was so scared that he sat up directly. Because this sword is not only a weapon, but also the carrier of his soul. As long as the sword is intact, Corvus Glaive will heal no matter how severely injured it is, and even if it dies, it will still have a chance to be resurrected. Snapped, however. Corvus Glaive hasn't finished speaking yet. Chu Shu accidentally broke the sword. Isn't your knife of good quality? As the sword broke, the wounds on Corvus Glaive that had been self-healing just now stopped healing immediately. It's like being suddenly deprived of self-healing ability. No wonder we beat him for a long time, but this guy always healed. So this guy's weakness is this knife. Tony looked at the wounds on Corvus Glaive that had stopped healing in surprise. And Corvus Glaive also lost its last resort. No. With the sword destroyed, Corvus Glaive's aura plummeted. The point is that he finally felt real death approaching. We know very little about Thanos' disappearance. After feeling a real death threat, Corvus Glaive, who had been silent for a long time after being beaten by Tony and the others, finally spoke. Tell everything you know. 1510. Don't dare to hide anything. He told how he and others discovered that Thanos was missing and what they found in the Annihilation Chamber. Ah? Are there really 5 of you Obsidian 5 generals? I heard Corvus Glaive say that there is a female alien named Supergiant among the 5 Obsidian generals. Chu Shu was a little surprised. Isn't it natural that there are only 4 of the 5 Obsidian generals? Supergiant is responsible for searching for Soul Gem. And our mission is to come to Earth to obtain the other 4 Infinity Stones. What about the Power Stone? I heard that you destroyed the planet Xandar and obtained the Power Stone. Power Stone. The Power Stone disappeared with Thanos. What? Righteousness. Thanos is missing. And he took the Power Gem away with him. The former Chu Shu definitely doesn't care. The world will be quieter without a purple sweet potato spirit. But the latter is different. After all, Chu Shu is now the person with the most gems. Who in the universe of 19,999 FL is most likely to collect all the infinite wooden stones? Chu Shu said he was second, but no one else could say he was first. Although this thing has little significance to today's Chu Shu. But who can say no? How about using a snap of your fingers to create a world filled only with cute girls? And I can also make wishes to make my gaming ability even more powerful. As Marvel's most famous single-universe artifact, infinite gems are both powerful and useless. The powerful point is that after they are gathered together, they can do almost anything in this universe. But the point of it being useless is, it can only use 7 inches in this universe and no one will recognize it when it goes out. I've told you everything I know, can you let us go? Corvus Glaive answered every question Chu Shu asked. Hope this can win a chance of survival. Chu Shu was silent for a moment. Looking at the miserable appearance of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. My heart was touched. That's right, Chu Shu conscience discovered. I'm going to be a virgin. Yes, but you have to cooperate with me and do me a small favor. Chu Shu said as he spoke, while releasing a healing magic. Rehabilitation of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. This is the healing magic that Chu Shu learned from the witch Huang Yu when he and Wanda were looking for Agatha. This is. Corvus Glaive was a little confused. I don't know what kind of medicine is in Chu Shu's gourd. Let's go. Not yet waiting for Corvus Glaive to figure it out. Chu Shu opened a crack and threw them both into another world. Tentacle Dimension. Quagos looked at the sudden appearance of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. And the 3 people from Chu Shu who followed. He was stunned for a second. Just wanted to say hello. It has nothing to do with you, don't join in the fun. Chu Shu interrupted Quagos and then started his sexy operation. Directed expulsion of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. Thanos, who was expelled to the 19,999 FL universe, as currently in the world. Chu Shu finished speaking. Under Corvus Glaive's confused gaze, he threw out a card. White light comes on. Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight disappeared in the tentacle dimension instantly. Sure enough. The operating logic of Chu Shu is actually very simple. Drag the life of this universe to another dimensional latitude. In this way, logically, it changes from a life in this dimension to an invader from another dimension, and then uses directional expulsion to send it to any world. These 2 unlucky guys, Quagos looked at the familiar white light, his dozen big eyes showing pity. He knows the taste of targeted expulsion all too well. Stop pitying others, have you paid the rent this month? Chu Shu glanced over. Without saying a word, Quagos immediately sent a ball of deep purple annihilation energy over. Chu Shu finished absorbing the energy. He left the tentacle dimension without looking back. There is no other reason. This place is so King disgusting. Before, Chu Shu thought about taking this dimension as his own and becoming the lord of the tentacle dimension. But now, Shu is very glad that he did not do this. This is not a question of whether to drop the san or not, but a question of whether you can eat if you take another look. After all, it's the people who make the food. Not being able to eat is a big deal. What? You threw Thanos Obsidian 5 too? Do you think the other world doesn't have enough troubles, so you want to make them more difficult? First of all, let me correct you. There are 5 Obsidian 5 generals in total, and I only sent 2 of them. Secondly, what does increasing difficulty mean? It's not like I won't take them back. Sending them there, I just want to borrow their eyes to find out which world Thanos went to. Kamar Taj. A group of magicians headed by Wong started dusting and mixing concrete again. Shu and Ancient One once again acted as overseers. Even the construction funding is the same as last time. Simply put, that is, Mr. Chu pays for all the expenses. Fortunately, the invasion of Ebony Maw and Black Dwarf did not cause too many casualties. Most of them were skin injuries like missing arms and broken legs. For the berserkers of Kamar Taj, this is nothing at all. It is a common occurrence. The only person who died was the young apprentice beside Daniel the magician. But this boy will be blessed after death. Notice. This is no joke. It can be understood that the Ancient One, Wong, and Daniel teamed up to write a letter to Emperor Weishan. Please ask the superiors to take care of the little apprentice's soul. So, the real loss of this war is, Wong has to plaster cement under the hot sun again. It's a pity that Modu is not here. Shu still misses when Modu was around. This kind of hard work such as dusting, moving bricks, and plastering cement is suitable for Modu to do. Wait a minute, you said you can still bring them back? Ancient One captures the point of Shu's words. Definitely. Then why don't you just summon Thanos back? Because I don't want to. Shu's answer was very willful, because he didn't want to, it's that simple. Calculating the time, it should be almost done now. It has been some time since Shu returned from the tentacle dimension. As long as the time flow rate of the two worlds is similar, then with the strength of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, it should be enough now to have a preliminary understanding of that world. I summon Corvus Glaive of the Marvel Universe 19999 FL Universe. Shu's voice fell. The system popped up an unexpected prompt. No such person found. Do you want to perform random summons? No. Shu decisively refused the random summons, but then, a big question mark came to mind. Where is my big Corvus Glaive? Why can't this person be found? I summon Proxima Midnight from the Marvel Universe 19999 FL Universe. Shu quickly made a second summons, and this time, finally succeeded. Accompanied by the familiar white light, Proxima Midnight appeared in front of Shu. That's right, there is no neighbor star. Because she came back with only half her body left. Not to mention how miserable he looked, he only breathed his last breath before he died. Day by day. What the hell? Shu brought her ears closer. Then I heard Proxima Midnight weakly spit out the remaining 2 words. Heaven. Chi. Star. Not long ago. Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight directed by Shu. Enveloped by white light. Finally, he was thrown into the vast space of the DCEU universe. It has to be said that the transmission coordinates of the directional expulsion are still very accurate. Not far from Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. On a broken spaceship, Thanos quickly discovered his 2 right-hand men. He drove the spaceship over unskillfully. This prevented Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight from being trapped and dead in space. Great Thanos, what? But as soon as the hatch opened, Corvus Glaive was shocked when he saw what Thanos looked like now. The once majestic and domineering Thanos is now little more than a homeless man. Covered with bruises. The armor on his body is in tatters. There was even a long burn mark on the purple face, and he almost lost one eye. Ahem, Thanos coughed lightly and said, it's a long story, to deflect Corvus Glaive's question. No way. It really doesn't want to mention its experiences on the Earth in this universe. It's just too. It is too detrimental to its majesty as the overlord of the universe. In short, after a lot of effort and several hard battles, Thanos finally escaped from the Earth. Fortunately, the human named Clark had no intention of pursuing him. After successfully leaving the solar system, Thanos intercepted an unlucky man's broken spaceship and began wandering among the stars. Why are you 2 here? Is there a crack nearby? Quick. Take me there quickly. Thanos became excited. It tried various methods in the DCEU universe, but could not return to its original world. Now, the arrival of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight gives Thanos hope of returning home. DC is too dark. I want Marvel back. Great Thanos, here's the thing. Corvus Glaive hesitated to speak. In the end, it was Proxima Midnight who revealed the failure of the invasion of Earth. What? Thanos was stunned. While you were away on a business trip, the company went bankrupt. The entire fleet was wiped out? Holy Place number 2 is gone too? Then how many infinite rough stones did you grab? Corvus Glaive's silence made Thanos understand what it means to be heartbroken. Even if he is trapped in this strange universe and cannot go back, his hometown has been taken away. That is to say, were you two sent here by that human named Chushu? There was a trace of doubt in Thanos' eyes. Apart from the Ancient One, when did another ruthless person appear on Earth? If this human named Chushu has the ability to send you here, does that mean he also has the ability to take us back? By the way, what did he say before sending you here? Did he say he would take you back? Thanos realizes that this may be his only way to return to the original universe. But soon, it got bad news. He didn't say anything. And why do we want him to take us back? Isn't it just a pocket dimension? Can't we just build a teleportation device and send it back directly? Corvus Glaive doesn't know yet that he has arrived in a universe with another worldview. In its understanding, at most it was transported to a certain dimension, Mephisto's pocket dimension. Anyway, it's all in the Marvel worldview. You can come. You will definitely be able to leave. Hee. Hear the ignorant yet confident remarks of Corvus Glaive. Thanos sneered. It seems we can't go back. But fortunately, with my strength and the help of you two, we can still dominate this world. The reputation of Thanos. It will eventually spread in this ignorant world, making people feel horrified. Based on the idea of, I have come, I can't go back anyway. The fire of conquest reignited in Thanos' eyes. Earth, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash. Just wait for me. When Thanos conquers the universe and becomes the terrifying overlord of the universe again. It's time for you to pay the price for your arrogance. There's a planet ahead. Just when Thanos regained his fighting spirit. When I was ready to start from scratch and rebuild a Fortune 500 company in this strange universe. Corvus Glaive pointed forward. Through the porthole of the broken spacecraft, a red planet came into view in the distance. The surface of the planet was bursting with flames like a furnace. It seems to be pushing the planet forward. It's still a high-tech planet with life. From a distance, Thanos could see a large number of metal artifacts on the surface of the planet. Since this is no ordinary lava planet, very good. Our plan of conquest. Start from this planet. Follow me. I will lead you to become bigger and stronger, create greater glory. Thanos waved his hand, bringing with him Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, who looked confused and unclear about the situation. The three of them drove the dilapidated spaceship and flew straight towards the distant planet. Then there is no more. The planet targeted by Thanos is called Apocalypse. It is the planet ruled by Darkseid, the villain of the DC Universe. 19,999 Flat Chushu heard the word Apocalypse Star coming out of Proxima Midnight in. I immediately broke into a cold sweat for Thanos. The Ancient One on the side understood something when he saw Chushu's expression. Do you know which world Thanos went to? I know so well. Chushu waved his hand. Several tentacles rose from the ground. He lifted up the dead Proxima Midnight and fired out an annihilation ray, quickly erasing it. Smokeless and odorless. Standard harmless treatment. It went to the DC Universe. DC? Ancient, stunned. He took out a few comic books from nowhere with his backhand. Throw it on the table, a thick pile. Are you talking about DC? The world in comic books? Forehead. Looking at the Justice League V1, V2, V3. A set of DC comics placed by Ancient One on the table. Chushu almost didn't react. Boss, do you still have this hobby? What are you thinking about? They are all confiscated. There used to be apprentices who didn't listen carefully to the lectures and stuffed comic books inside the covers of magic books. I still have a bunch more here. Ancient One said, and took out a bunch of comics such as The Amazing Peter Pan and Big Mouth Monkey. As well as a bunch of red and white game consoles and Zhaobuang game consoles from the early era. So you are this kind of person. Chushu took a step back. It is different from the Marvel editorial department that closed down early in the DC universe. In the 19,999 FL universe where Chushu lives, DC comics are still very popular. In particular, classic characters such as Superman, Batman, and The Flash have become household names. This is also the reason why there is Batman in Glory of the Premier League, played by Chushu. This is the DC editorial office. Chushu and Ancient One came to an old office building in Manhattan, New York. Push the door open and enter. The first thing that catches the eye is a Superman statue. The wall next to it is covered with illustrations of Superman and Batman, as well as some honorary commendations. For example, Best Comics of the Year, Most Liked Comic Characters, Best Comics Movies of the Year. Hello, do you have an appointment? The female assistant at the front desk stood up and asked. Definitely, I have discussed this with your editor in advance. Chu Shu turned around and looked at the female receptionist, her eyes flashing red. Oh, okay, you can take the elevator directly to the 3rd floor. The catalog is in his office. The female receptionist didn't doubt it was fake. He also thoughtfully walked to the elevator and pressed the elevator button. You kid, don't say outside that you are from Kamar Taj. Ancient One held his forehead. I don't use this trick very often. Chu Shu didn't care, and walked into the elevator as he spoke. He had just used the power of the devil to bewitch the female receptionist, making her believe in him unconditionally. This trick Chu Shu really doesn't use often, because the devil's ability to bewitch can only bully ordinary people. The elevator goes up. The two finally arrived at the DC editorial office. The desks that came into view were filled with half-finished comic drafts. Some were picked into a ball and thrown next to the wastebasket. Others have been bound and placed in volumes on the table. Infinite multi-universe, everything is possible. This is indeed true. Ancient One picked up a comic book and flipped through a few pages. This hundreds-year-old bald woman quickly accepted that the comic book characters became reality. She even gave a reasonable explanation on her own. I don't think this is a comic book world that became reality. Because the people who draw these cartoons are just ordinary people. Ancient One flipped through these comics at random. Let us first determine the first point. The cartoonist here is not the creator of the DC universe. Because they have neither super ability nor high-dimensional existence, they do not have the possibility to create the world. So I think these comics are more of a coincidence. Or some higher dimensional existence. The stories of the DC universe are projected into the minds of these artists in the form of imagination. That's why they can draw characters and stories that are exactly the same as those in the DC universe. After listening to what Ancient One said, Chu Shu was so shocked that she couldn't help but give her a thumbs up. Boss, what you said is great, so, is there a possibility? Is the universe we live in now also the content of a certain comic or novel? Chu Shu asked. It's definitely a possibility. I have just said that in infinite parallel universes, everything is possible. Perhaps our current conversation was also projected into the mind of a painter or writer by a higher dimensional being in the form of imagination, and was written into his work by him. But this does not prevent us from being real beings of flesh and blood. Boss, just keep talking, why are you so sleepy? Look. This is proof that we really exist. The corners of Ancient One's mouth raised. Chu Shu, on the other hand, rubbed a red mark on his arm and grinned. Hello, I'm Jimmy Jarvins, the editor-in-chief here. May I ask who you two are? At the same time Chu Shu and Ancient One visited the DC editorial office. DC editor-in-chief Jimmy Chaos also noticed these two strangers. He walked out of the office. He took the initiative to say hello. Oh, it's a superhero, live. Come to our office, however, before Chu and Shu could reply. After Jimmy Jarvins saw Chu Shu's appearance clearly, he started yelling like crazy. Hearing the news, the dozens of editors in the office who were originally focused on taking charge. They all raised their heads, after seeing Chu Shu's appearance clearly. The editors took off their glasses, which cause an average of 800 degrees of myopia per capita, and joined the carnival. Oh yeah. It's a demon hunter. When did you return to Demon Hunter? Now you should be called the Great Lord Satan. Mom. I'm making a difference. I saw a living superhero. Oh, I have been drawing Superman all my life. It would be great if I could see Superman in this life. Don't be disappointed there. Superman is all fake. What you see now is the real superhero. The artists and editors who have spent their whole lives drawing superhero comics are like chicken blood. They threw half-finished drawings everywhere. Spill. Spill. Satan, stop it, just call me Chu Shu. Chu Shu rubbed his forehead helplessly. The Ancient One on the side pulled out a chair, sat down and started watching the show. No one knows her anyway. Master Chu Shu. We are also planning to draw a new hero based on you recently, and the name will be Constantine. The storyline is mainly about the love and death between Constantine and the devil. What do you think of the name and the plot? Editor-in-chief Jimmy became more and more excited as he talked. Instruct the staff below to quickly bring over the original drawings of the first edition. Stop, stop, stop. Chu Shu quickly stopped the other party's behavior. I beg you, please don't have anything to do with Constantine. This is very important to my reputation. In fact, many of Constantine's characteristics are okay for Chushu. Like a liar, a scumbag, a coward, running away from trouble, an addict, lung cancer, and full of foul language. These good qualities are actually quite good. But there is one thing. This is something Chushu absolutely cannot accept, and it is also the reason why he absolutely does not want to have anything to do with Constantine. That's Constantine's amazing XP. Private life is in chaos. Go up to angel, go down to demon, left to slime, and go to goblin. Anyway, no one dares to bite this guy. The important thing is that he is also suitable for both men and women. Alright, Editor-in-Chief Jimmy definitely couldn't understand why Chushu was so afraid of getting involved with a character who hadn't been drawn yet. But now that Lord Satan has spoken, even if you give him 10,000 courages, he would not dare to bind again. Sir, you came to our editorial office. Do you have any instructions? Jimmy was confused and nervous. The TV is still reporting news about the Avengers fighting aliens. At this critical time point, the famous hero, Chushu, came to his editing room. There must be something very important. Could it be? Is there any mission to save the world that you want to entrust to us? Jimmy's hands were shaking with excitement. When all the dead house painters around heard this, they all became excited. I've been drawing superheroes all my life. I finally have the opportunity to experience saving the world for myself. Save the world. It is our duty to do so. When everyone is looking forward to it, waiting for Chushu to say, the world needs you. Chushu spoke. Well, actually, I came here this time just to read the comics behind you. Are there any plans for collaboration? For example, adding some real-life characters to DC Comics. Just this. Leaving the DC editorial office. Chushu has basically determined the DC Comics drawn by these artists in the DC universe Thanos travels through. It doesn't matter half a dime, even in Chushu's opinion. The DC Comics here are also incomplete. Basically, it is still in the style of the ancient early comic period, and many characters are incomplete. For example, Constantine is a standard example. A character who should have appeared long ago, turns out to be just an idea now. Apocalypse, Darkseid, Omega Effect, New Gods. On the way back to Holy Place in New York. I have been looking through the information about Apocalypse compiled by Jimmy. Most of it is about a villain named Darkseid. The only one in multi-universe? Duplication projected from high dimensions? No. Do these artists know what multi-universe is? Blow like this. The more Ancient One looked at it, the more he felt something was wrong. If this Darkseid is really as powerful as written here, then who among the superheroes in the comics can defeat him? With questions, Ancient One turned back. On the next page of the information, the words, "This setting is obsolete," suddenly appeared. Can this still happen? Just get used to it. It's normal to read American comics. Chushu didn't take it seriously. American comics are serialized for too long, and are written by different writers. Therefore, things like conflicts and settings-eating books often appear. Besides, DC is the same as Marvel. There are also movie universes, comic universes, and many parallel universes. If it were Darkseid in the movie universe, that's actually nothing to be afraid of. After all, this scene was played at the beginning of the movie, Justice League. The scene where Darkseid invaded the Earth and was crippled by Ares, the god of war of the DC universe, with an axe. Comparable to the plot of Thanos being hacked to pieces by Stormbreaker with 6 gems. All are seriously weakened if our universe collides with this DC universe. What about this Darkseid? And Ancient One opened the information provided by Jimmy. What does it say about the 3 palace demons, the Anti-Monitor, the Black Death Emperor, the Parallax Demon, the Chaos Emperor, the Giant Ferocious Beast, etc., etc., a whole bunch of ultimate villains. These guys are definitely a big problem for us. Ancient One finished speaking and closed the document. Although she knew that the artists in the DC editorial department were not to blame for all this. But I still can't help but want to complain. Can't you draw less villains? It's okay. Don't we have big bosses in this universe? Like the 5 creation gods, eternity, annihilation, death. Bala Bala, a bunch of them. Chushu really wanted to be open-minded. After all, if the sky fell, a tall man would hold it up. Compared to those illusory villains, Chushu was even more confused about whether to get the Power Stone back. After all, he only needs the 2 gems of power and soul to make a wish. If it doesn't work, just summon Thanos back. Anyway, this guy doesn't pose much of a threat to me now. Soon. A few days passed. Chushu talks about summoning Thanos back, but actually has no intention of taking action. Because the new season has begun. Chushu, who was busy raising points with Sky, had long forgotten about DC, Thanos, and the Power Stone. Groot. Practice your last hit, 100 knives in 10 minutes. This is the basic skill for you to become a professional player. Chushu fulfilled his original promise. He traded a vibranium arm for custody of baby Groot. As for where the vibranium arms come from, it does not matter. Rocket Raccoon wanted this thing anyway, so Chushu got it for him. Definitely. The reason why Rocket is willing to leave Groot on Earth. The real reason is safety. Groot is too young, and it is too dangerous to follow them on their adventures across the galaxy. On the contrary, it is safe to stay with Chushu, the greatest hero on Earth. What's more, Chushu has promised them. We will give Groot the best education and cultivate him into a real talent. I believe you. What reason do the Rockets have for refusing? After all, Chushu is a greater hero than Kevin Bacon. Rocket firmly believes that under the training of Chushu, Groot will grow into a great tree with excellent ideological and moral character. I'm Groot. The final blow mission is completed. Very good, now let's start practicing FPS games. Headshots with guns are the basic skill. Chushu didn't even look back. In order to keep Groot, Chushu gave the God King's noble phantasm, Gramo, to Rocket. Let the rocket open Bifrost at any time and return to the Earth to visit. Anyway, Chushu now has a better all-black death sword. Chushu? Isn't it good for us to play games every day? I remember 2 days ago, did you say who you were going to summon? A game is over. During the rematching time, Sky asked worriedly. It is said that with great ability comes great responsibility. But what about Chushu? It seems to be the other way around. The more powerful you are, the more irresponsible you are. In the past, Venerable Ancient One could still control him, but now it's better and his wings are strong. Even the Ancient One couldn't control it, so he simply hid in the mirror space, out of sight and out of mind. Summoning. Is this a thing? Okay. Don't think about those things that you have and don't have, and play the game seriously. This is the positioning match for the new season. Chushu interrupted Sky, and while he was busy getting points. The other side. Everyone in Avengers Alliance has completed the post-war cleanup work. There's really nothing to clean up. The battlefields this time were all in space and had almost no impact on the Earth. The only thing that can be done is to clean up the wreckage of the spacecraft in space. For this job, the whole world that has formed the Human Federation is scrambling to do it. Because mankind urgently needs interstellar navigation and other technologies on these spacecraft wreckage. Now, everyone in the Avengers Alliance has nothing to do. At the invitation of Black Bolt, they gathered at Attilan on the back of the moon. Also invited was Namor, who had met Chushu before. The king of Atlantis under the sea. By relying on his ability to speak human language to people and devil's language to demons, he successfully completed his original idea, which was to establish a bilateral trade agreement between demons and humans. In humans, Atlantis, Tony Stark at the moment. I finally understood what Chushu meant when he wanted to form the Illuminati. No wonder they said I stretched my crotch. I didn't know there were so many forces on Earth. Tony sighed. Then he quietly winked at Phil Coulson, who was not far away. Good impression, man. It's time for you to take action. Recruit all these awesome people for me. Look at it. Phil Coulson nodded slightly. However, before Phil Coulson could release his favorability plus 50 degrees aura of affinity plus 50 degrees. Attilan's alarm suddenly sounded. An alien woman was suddenly teleported over the moon. Where's the fleet? At the moment, the only surviving supergiant among the 5 obsidian generals. He was looking around with confusion. Isn't it an invasion of the Earth? Where are people? What about the spaceship? Didn't we agree to send me to find clues to the soul gem, and then after finding it, we would gather together here on Earth? Now I'm here. Corvus Glaive, where are you guys? Proxima Midnight? Ebony Maw? Black Dwarf? Finally, Supergiant did not wait for the other 5 obsidian generals. Just waiting for the arrival of all the Avengers, including the Inhumans, Aquaman, Namor, etc. What? There is still one. To be honest, if Tony Stark hadn't suddenly come over and said they had captured the supergiant. Chushu almost forgot that the 5 obsidian generals were actually 5 people. In other words, this supergiant was sent to find the soul gem? That's no wonder. Chushu suddenly realized. In fact, he already knew the location of soul gem. Anyone who has watched Avengers Alliance E knows that Thanos' adopted daughter Gamora has discovered the location of the soul gem a long time ago, but has always kept it secret from Thanos. Chushu, plus soul gem, then we have a total of 5 gems. As long as we get more power stones, we will have them all. Tony sounded excited. It was as if the gems were all for him to use after collecting them. Power Stone? Only then did Chushu remember summoning Thanos. After being trapped in the DC universe for so long, I don't know if the purple sweet potato spirit is dead. Logically speaking, he should be dead. After all, Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight are dead. And we learned from Proxima Midnight that their last place was Apocalypse, the planet ruled by Darkseid. It's quite interesting that these two characters meet together. From the perspective of comic prototype, Darkseid is actually the prototype of Thanos. These two classic characters come from the same artist. He first created Darkseid for DC, then jumped to Marvel and created the character Thanos. Forget it. I forgot all about it, then let's wait for a while before summoning again. Let's go and see what this supergiant looks like. Chushu was quite curious about this fifth general of Obsidian whom he had never met before. Then you have to be careful. This female alien's ability is somewhat special. She can invade other people's brains, forcibly tamper with other people's thoughts, and even control others. Tony's tone was cautious. To capture the supergiant, it took them a while to get to the moon. Isn't it telepathy, Professor X's ability? Who is Professor X? Forget it, I'll take you to the parallel universe later to learn more about it, Mr. Tien. Chushu said. Open a portal to the moon Atalan. Then he kicked Tony in. Next door. DCEU universe. Thanos stood on a meteorite, breathing heavily. Although there is no air for him to breathe in a vacuum environment. Thanos, you are a good warrior, surrender to me. A majestic body stood in front of Thanos. Put your hands behind your back. Side-facing Thanos. His eyes glowed scarlet. I'm interested in your world. Thanos, surrender to me and show me the way. Darkseid clasped his hands behind his back. It has killed Thanos time and time again. This purple warrior who looked very similar to himself was melted again and again. But every time, Thanos will never truly die. His flesh and blood will always be generated out of thin air for no reason, and will appear in front of Darkseid tenaciously. You want to conquer my world? Hee hee. Thanos smiled coldly. You can't kill me, Yinxiande. The death of your world cannot tolerate me, and the death of my world rejects me. So, I am immortal, nothing is immortal. 2 lines of rays burst out from Darkseid's eyes. The red Omega rays made several turns in space. No matter how Thanos flickers between meteorites, these rays will always follow him. Keep turning, until it hits Thanos, ha ha ha. Thanos met his yet another death while laughing. His body quickly disintegrated the moment he was hit by the Omega rays. Until it evaporates completely. This is because Darkseid's Omega rays have a lethal effect. The life hit by it will die instantly, but the next second. Right where Thanos originally disappeared. A big purple hand suddenly appeared, and then more matter was generated out of thin air, reorganizing Thanos. This picture looks. It's like the DC universe ate Thanos and then vomited it up again due to indigestion. Come on, I can keep doing this all day. Darkseid was silent. The reason why he is interested in the Marvel universe where Thanos lives. It's because he once saw with his own eyes that the dying Proxima Midnight was picked up by a white light. Darkseid had tried to stop that white light, then there is no more. That power that transcends everything, is uncontrollable, and irresistible. Darkseid felt fear for the first time. That's real power. It is a power more terrifying than the Omega effect in the anti-life equation. Therefore, Darkseid wants to go to the Marvel universe, find the source of that white light, and then take it away. But Kesade ignored one thing. That means Thanos cannot surrender. Facing this unkillable titan from Otherworld, Darkseid remained silent. Because in a daze, he saw himself reflected in Thanos. Create me the strongest cage and lock it up forever. Darkseid also realized that he could not make Thanos surrender. So new orders were issued. But that doesn't mean Darkseid has given up on his plans to conquer the Marvel universe. Disid, have you locked the coordinates of the opponent's universe? Locked, but of no use, Your Majesty. Disid is a scientist under Darkseid and masters many high technologies of Apocalypse. The guy named Corvus Glaive told me a coordinate before he was tortured to death by me. It's the coordinates of the Earth in their universe. But it's no use. The other party's universe and our universe are currently in a stage of separation from each other. Even if we know the coordinates, we can't teleport there. Only when 2 universes contact and collide with each other and reach a certain critical point, can we enter each other's universe through the cracks caused by the collision. Desaad explained his theory to Darkseid. Then what's going on with that white light? Why can it ignore what you said and forcefully open the channel? I don't know about this, please. Maybe it's some kind of higher dimensional force, one that's powerful enough to span the universe. Disid offered his explanation. So now we just have to wait? Yes, Your Majesty. You just have to be ready for the next cosmic collision. And please believe me, we don't have to wait too long for this day. According to my speculation, our universe and the other's universe are approaching each other, just like two celestial bodies attracted to each other. After a short period of rotation of the binary star system, they will eventually collide. Become one. At that time, Your Majesty, you will eventually become the dark side, corpse of two universes. In the prison of Atalan, Chu Shu finally met the legendary 5th General of Obsidian, Supergiant. How's it going? You're in good shape, right? Tony Stark winked from the sidelines. Even from a human aesthetic perspective, Supergiant is definitely not ugly. As a female alien, Supergiant has a very hot body. Except for his skin being a little blue, there is almost nothing strange about him. It is in sharp contrast to the other 4 of the 5 Obsidian generals. I think you should change your name to Black Dwarf. Chu Shu walked to Supergiant's cell. To be honest, when I first heard the name Supergiant, Chu Shu had an image of a burly and domineering space version of Hulk in his mind. But it turned out that the Space Hulk among the 5 Obsidian generals was called Black Dwarf instead. A not-so-short guy named Black Dwarf. One is not big. Well, not small either. Anyway, the one with standard human size is called Supergiant. Humanity? You mean I'm dark and short? Watching, I saw someone approaching the cage. Supergiant immediately came over with a strange look in his eyes. Careful, she wants to tamper with your brain. Tony Stark issued a warning from behind. Chu Shu waved his hand, signaling not to be nervous. As a friendly reminder, you can read my memory, but you must not try to tamper with my thoughts. Otherwise it will end badly. Chu Shu wasn't kidding. Once the Holy Soul's active defense measures are triggered. That is, when trying to tamper with or contaminate Chu Shu's consciousness and thoughts. The light bursting out from the Holy Soul is almost like hundreds of suns exploding at the same time. Anyway, quite glaring. By the way, you should be quite curious now, right? I wonder where Thanos went. I wonder where your good brothers went. Bring it on. I have answers to all these questions in my brain. Chu Shu let go of his mental guard, signaling Supergiant to enter his brain. This move frightened Supergiant. She didn't know what medicine Chu Shu was selling in the gourd. Although she missed the battle when Corvus Glaive invaded Earth. However, during the period of being captured and held, Supergiant was able to piece together the general story of what happened through fragmentary information from people around him. To sum it up in one sentence, the plan failed, Corvus Glaive and his troops were wiped out. Do you think I don't dare? Chu Shu, right? I've heard of you. The human named Stark behind you says all day long that you are the most powerful hero on Earth. But if you think this name can scare me, you are totally wrong. Supergiant said. Directly use all her majestic spiritual power. It poured towards Chu Shu's defenseless brain. Coming in now? Hey, I thought you were so powerful? Supergiant successfully entered Chu Shu's brain. Although he doesn't care about it, but in actual action, she still did not dare to tamper with Chu Shu's thoughts. It just entered the memory unit of Chu Shu's brain and tried to read the information she wanted to know. But the next scene. But Supergiant was completely dumbfounded. Oh. An 800-pound banana is the limit for a bicycle, but it is not the limit for Odabiao. When the speed of the bicycle reached 70 miles, Odabiao knew that it was time to rely on the 8 figures. This week's knife forging competition. 3 contestants will use spring steel to forge a rotating Damascus. Can you imagine? This guy only spent $200, and there was actually a Lamborghini sports car in the blind box of the container. Xiao Shay and Xiao Mei strayed into a mysterious town, and the police were very strong. Today is the 3rd day of Beiyi's wilderness survival. The moment it entered Chu Shu's brain, Supergiant was dumbfounded. All kinds of messy but very brainwashing sounds. Supergiant's consciousness was instantly filled. What is all this mess? Supergiant only felt a splitting headache. These brainwashing voices, like a curse, kept ringing in her ears. No. I have to go into deeper memories. Supergiant could only endure the discomfort, for her. This is simply inhuman torture. She could only grit her teeth and endure it, trying to read the depths of Chu Shu's memory. Finally, Supergiant succeeded. Those magical sounds and images disappeared instantly. This should be the deepest secret in his memory. As long as I get this information, I can take advantage of their weaknesses and defeat them one by one. Supergiant said, pushing open a door representing Chu Shu's deep memory. Then, how much is Palace Jade Liquor plus Big Hammer plus Small Hammer equals? A problem suddenly appeared in front of Supergiant. Supergiant looked confused. She really couldn't think of an answer, so she could only open another door. But after this door is pushed open, there's just a bunch of study materials in there. And they are all sorted into categories. What? Japanese teachers, domestic teachers, European and American teachers, etc. It seems that no matter which world the strong man is in, he cannot do without a long period of study. Although they are hostile camps, but Supergiant still has a little admiration for Chushu's diligence and studiousness. After closing the door respectfully, Supergiant once again changed the door. This time, before the door opened, a line of warning appeared in front of Supergiant. Things engraved into DNA. Warning. Don't move. Hee. It seems the real secret is here. Supergiant sneered. Ignoring the warning, I pushed the door open. Then there is no more real world. Chushu relaxed and allowed Supergiant to enter his brain. Tony Stark looked worried in the back, but within a few seconds. Supergiant suddenly laughed wildly and escaped from Chushu's brain. Old iron. There's nothing wrong with it, here's Ollie. Haha, I won't accept any gifts during the holidays this year. I will only accept Stanley compound fertilizer. Cauldron, your armor is not as good looking as mine. Fragrant grilled gluten. Walk down Chenghua Avenue. Why don't you zoom in? F4 doesn't zoom in or release moves. Does your melon stay ripe? What kind of plum is this? Supergiant laughed wildly while banging his head against the cell door. He was mumbling words and talking all kinds of nonsense. Tony Stark was stunned. Even Chushu looked confused. What's going on? Is this crazy? Besides, when did I have these things in my head? Man, what did you do too? Tony Stark stepped forward and asked. I didn't do anything. Chushu was a little helpless. He just wanted to experience the power of telepathy. In order to cope with the future, it may be possible to be prepared when encountering Professor X or other enemies with similar abilities in the parallel universe. But the result? Chushu himself hasn't thought about it yet. The doctor is crazy. What should I do now? Originally we wanted to know the whereabouts of Soul Gem from her. Tony Stark is in trouble. All they know is that Supergiant was sent to find the Soul Gem. But as for the exact location of Soul Gem, Supergiant is very tight-lipped and has not disclosed it. However, Pleasant Goat, Soul Gem is on planet Hamill. You have to be careful, that's the territory of the Decepticons, and it's guarded by scorpions. Unhinged Supergiant. Suddenly the exact location of Soul Gem was revealed. Who is Grandma Scorpion? It's Lili the Scorpion. Idiot hater. Captain, I'll see a man in a cloak later. You just hit him with the shield, just listen to me, you're right. Vomir Starball. Chushu, who doesn't mind watching the excitement, specially brought Captain America here. For no other reason than that, he just wanted to see if Captain America and Red Skull, the mortal enemies, would fight each other as soon as they met. There was no arrangement for Captain America to come over in the movie, which was a huge failure in Chushu's opinion. What a pity. What about me? Am I here to beat someone up? Black Widow was also brought over by Chushu. So she was curious. Did Chushu also arrange a person for himself to praise? You don't have to, just watch from the side. Chushu's pure bad taste. Soon, a group of 4 people came to the mountain where Soul Gem is located. As soon as he got close to the mountain peak, Shu discovered that the rules in this area were a little different. Simply put, this is a no-fly zone. Even if people like Captain Marvel who can fly come over, they can only walk honestly. Are you afraid that others won't die if you fall? Shu complained. At this time, a figure wearing a cloak appeared in front of everyone. Tony Stark, son of Howard Stark, Steve Rowe. The cloaked figure chanted everyone's names and origins. But when I think of Captain America, a sudden meal. F*K. Red Skull. It's you old cunt. Captain America, who has always been gentle and elegant, recognized the owner of this voice almost instantly. Instant rage. While swearing, he rounded up the shield in his hand and threw it over. Captain, watch your words. Tony seized the moment. Immediately put aside the words that Captain America often said to others, be careful with your words. This is Red Skull. I also pay attention to my words. If it weren't for this old guy. I am now married to Paige and have children. I have danced 1,000 times. While Captain America was yelling angrily, the Red Skull in front also grabbed the shield thrown by Captain America. At the same time he took off his cloak. A red skull face that looked like it had been peeled off was revealed in front of everyone. It's really you. Steve, after all these years, you should let go of your hatred. I'll let you MLGB. Captain America's figure rushed forward like a cheetah, grabbed Red Skull's cloak and beat him up. Red Skull, who originally pretended to be inscrutable, finally broke his disguise after being beaten up. Squid. Damn Steve. If it weren't for you, I'll be on this damn planet, day after day, year after year. Guard this poor place. I ride on a horse. Red Skull ripped off his cloak with one hand. Then he had a passionate real man V1 head banging with Captain America. Fight. Fight. Choo watched with great interest. Just as I was about to take out my mobile phone to record the video, I touched my pocket and found that I had left my mobile phone at home. Lend me your cell phone. Choo just finished speaking. Flying Cloud Explorer. He took out his cell phone directly from the widow's pocket and started recording. At the moment, no matter how stupid Tony and the widow are, I also know that Choo must have planned this scene in advance. He must have known that Red Skull was the Asgardian here, so he called Captain America over. Wait a minute. Then why did he call me here? The widowed sister suddenly felt a chill in her heart. Looking at the surrounding eyes, they also became suspicious, and everyone became wary. Okay, Steve, we're here for business. As Captain America fell to the ground again after more than 70 years. Tony then stepped forward to stop the fight between the two. Red Skull, who was beaten and lying on the ground, showed a trace of resentment in his eyes. TMD. Couldn't you have told me earlier if you had something serious to do? Do you have to wait until I get beaten up by Fatty before you start persuading me? Are you here for Soul Gem? Although I was very angry at Tony's deviant behavior. But in line with the principle of doing your duty, you can be relieved as soon as possible. Red Skull honestly introduced how to obtain Soul Gem. You must sacrifice the love of your heart, only sacrifice. In order to get the Soul Gem, Red Skull dusted himself off and pretended to be enigmatic again. He has worked here for so many years, the only fun. Just look at those people who find this place in search of Soul Gem. When he finally learned that he had to sacrifice the love of his life, he looked so broken, desperate, and helpless. Haha, beat me up, right? It's a stretch, right? Okay. I will wait to see how hard you cry when you are about to die. Red Skull pulled his cloak back on and showed an evil smile. Snapped. Choo suddenly teleported behind Red Skull. The slap was so hard that the back of his head was cracked. Isn't it impossible to fly here? What's wrong with you? The moment Red Skull came back to his senses, he felt incredible. It can't fly, but it doesn't say it can't teleport. As Choo spoke, he took out the all-black death sword and placed it on Red Skull's neck. I advise you to reorganize your language. Feel the evil aura of the all-black death sword killing the gods. Red Skull was instantly chilled. Well, he had no hair, so he had goosebumps all over his body. This, sir, I didn't rule the rules. This is Soul Gem's own rule. Red Skull stammered. Under the real threat of death, he did not dare to hide anything and honestly told the inside story about Vomir's star. A simple summary is, Soul Gem is a self-aware gem. Unless it wants to. Otherwise no one can get it. The only way to get Soul Gem's consent is to sacrifice the love of your heart. Hear this answer. Everyone was silent. Tony Stark glanced at the other three people next to him. My beloved is not here. Me too. Captain America nodded. The love of his heart is Peggy, who is now over 100 years old, and she is not here anyway. The widowed sister suddenly realized something. He suddenly turned his head to look at Choo. No way. As a female agent who came out of the Red House, it stands to reason that she would not be tempted by the widowed sister. At this moment, my heart could not help but beat wildly. Forehead. Or maybe he was scared. Aren't you going to throw me down? The widowed sister asked with a trembling voice. Choo, isn't this why you brought me here? Choo did not answer. He just took a deep breath and showed a trace of determination in his eyes. He turned to Red Skull. Ask again. Are you sure this is the only way? Absolutely true. After being confirmed again, the determination in Choo-Choo's eyes became even stronger. Just wait for me, I'll be right back. Choo-Choo opened a portal to the holy place in New York. Step into it without hesitation. No way. Could it be that? Tony suddenly felt a palpitation in his heart. He couldn't imagine. Choo-Choo, who usually uses other people's meal cards to eat in the cafeteria, actually plans to make such a big sacrifice. He's not going to push Wanda down, is he, or Sky? Gwen? Black Cat? Black Widow obviously knows something about the women around Choo-Choo. But she couldn't make up her mind either. It's unclear who among these women is Choo-Choo's true love. No. It shouldn't be like this. Choo-Choo has done enough. We can't let him sacrifice anymore. Push me down. Tony Stark took a deep breath and stood up. In his opinion, Chu Shu's true love must be more important than his own life. After all, he is the greatest hero on Earth. Faced with Tony's request, the widowed sister and Captain America suddenly ran into trouble. Tony, it's not that we don't want to push you down. But the problem is, we don't like you, so there's no point in pushing you down. Just when Tony was hit hard, while everyone lamented Chu Shu's sacrifice, the portal appears again, immediately afterwards. Chu Shu walked out with determination in his eyes and great sorrow. Chu Shu. What else does Tony want to say? Then I saw behind Chu Shu, there was neither Wanda, nor Gwen, nor Black Cat, nor C. No one. What is the true love of your heart? Just when everyone was confused, Chu Shu's eyes were red and he took out the mobile phone in his pocket resolutely. Go for it. My account has just finished the positioning match with 1300 points. In the confused eyes of everyone, the love-crazy mobile phone, borrowed from the black man in Chapter 10. An arc was drawn from the sky, falling off a cliff. Pa-da, broken to pieces. Soul Gem is in hand. But Chu Shu was not happy. The reason wasn't because he dropped his phone and broke it, but because I lost my cell phone for nothing. Chu Shu's method of obtaining the Soul Gem was not a sacrifice at all. Simply put, he blew up the Vomir Starball. The reason is because Soul Gem is cheating and Chu Shu has obviously sacrificed his true love. The account of the #1 Batman in the IS server. But Soul Gem doesn't admit it. In a rage, Chu Shu drew his sword and cut the Vomir Starball into several pieces like a watermelon. But despite this, Soul Gem still didn't show up. Fortunately, Chu Shu, who has read countless films and is knowledgeable, quickly found a coping strategy. Since Soul Gem is a gem with self-awareness, that can completely play the emotional card. Dear Soul Gem? You don't want to see reality, space, time, and soul shatter in front of you, right? Chu Shu took out 4 infinite gems, smiled, and said devilish words. Then, Soul Gem appears. So far, Chu Shu has mastered 5 of the 6 infinite gems in this universe. There is only one Power Stone left in the DC universe. Let's go, it's done. Chu Shu who got the Soul Gem. When he turned around, he found Tony and others standing on the meteorite, and they all took a step back in unison. The eyes he looked at Chu Shu seemed to be looking at the devil. Chu Shu, are you sure you haven't participated in any bad movies? Roll. Ha ha ha. After a brief teasing, 3 people gathered around. Tony, Captain America, and Black Widow all wore a thin space battlesuit. The shape is somewhat similar to Star-Lord's masks and protective clothing. And this is indeed the case. Rocket and Star-Lord provided Tony and the others with a large amount of space technology before they left the Earth. And this is why Tony and the 3 of them can stand in space with flesh and blood. But Red Skull was not so lucky. Before the Vomir Starball exploded, Captain America showed his kindness and saved Hong. But there was no extra protective clothing for him. This resulted in Red Skull entering the space environment without protection. Red Skull felt like his throat was being strangled and he couldn't make a sound. The exposed red skin was covered with frost, and the flesh and blood cracked, exploded, and then healed quickly. Strictly speaking, Red Skull died 70 years ago. Now he is just a wage earner taken away from death by Soul Gem. Now Soul Gem falls into the hands of Chu Shu. And death. I have long forgotten the small role of Red Skull. This results in it being unable to die or survive, a painful group. Captain, are you sure you didn't do it on purpose? Black Widow seriously suspects that Captain America had anticipated this scene when he rescued Red Skull. I'm not, I didn't, don't say it. Captain America denies the triple connection. Adelan Prison. Supergiants next door soon welcomed a new inmate. Red Skull finally got out of the space environment, after ending the torture that was worse than death. Before Red Skull had time to take a breath, he heard crazy sounds coming from the cell next to him. Hey, I won. Ha ha ha. You're going to F*K me up, aren't you? This is a super large cup, a large cup, and this is a medium cup. Teacher Luo, don't be like this. Ji Bochong, you don't live long. Our Shang family has been practicing medicine for generations. In one stroke, the roots were eradicated. At first, Red Skull could barely hold on. But as time went by, the crazy talk next door not only did not stop, but became even crazier. Finally, Red Skull couldn't help it. Ah. Please spare me. This is worse than killing me. Shang's old recipe. Lu Wei Diwang Wan, Jin Ke Le. I really can't eat it. Red Skull kept slapping the cell. But the cell, made of vibranium material provided by Black Panther, remained motionless. And there was no guard outside the door who could hear his call. Because the guards couldn't stand it for a long time. The other side. In the palace of Atalan. Chu Shu soon chatted with Crystal, a royal member of the Inhumans. The speed shocked Tony Stark, who had always called himself a friend of women. It shouldn't be. Tony felt real frustration for the first time. It's not a good feeling to be defeated in one's professional field. It doesn't matter if you are stronger than me. He's better at flirting with girls than me. This is too much. Wow. Chu Shu, how do you know this color is my favorite? Even the style is my favorite. Oh my god. You understand me too well, as the sister of Medusa, queen of the Inhumans. For the first time, Crystal felt attentiveness in a man she had just met not long ago. The crystal necklace the other party gave randomly was her favorite color and favorite style. Even the content of the conversation was like a spring breeze blowing. Every sentence Chu Shu spoke to Crystal's heart, directly touching the girl's heart. Oh my god, how did you do that? I feel like I fell into your scheme. Did you cheat? After chatting for a while, Crystal, who was not experienced in the world, was about to fall. There was almost love in her eyes. What words? If I don't turn it off, does it mean it's turned on? Chu Shu silently put away the time gem. At the same time, Black Bolt walked over with his wife Medusa. The Illuminati envisioned by Tony Stark was not implemented in the end due to Chu Shu's persuasion. The main members of the Illuminati have basically gathered together. Iron Man, Captain America, Mordo, Dr. Banner, Black Bolt, Black Panther, Namor, and Chu Shu. Why do I feel like I've gone around in a circle and come back again, Chi? Chu Shu scratched his head. These people sit here. Putting an Illuminati sign on the table doesn't feel out of place at all. Everyone, we are gathered here today to deal with a more serious disaster. To be honest, it's still hard for me to believe that the characters in the comics will actually become reality. Tony spoke. Chu Shu felt that the taste was right. What the hell? This is the Illuminati, soon. The first Illuminati conference has come to an end. As one of the initiators of the conference and the provider of all information, Chu Shu gave full play to the excellent qualities of a fun-loving person. Watching the excitement is not too big a deal. The whole meeting. Chu Shu fully instilled a point of view into everyone. That is, the people from the DC universe next door are not good people. Chu Shu described the accident in which the two universes collided and integrated into a life-or-death invasion war. And the purpose of doing this? I definitely want to see the Avengers fight the Justice League. Definitely. Chu Shu was not completely unprepared. He collects infinite gems to prevent the situation from getting to the point of no return. I am such a good hero who prepares for a rainy day. When they're done fighting, can't I just snap my fingers and push the DC universe away? The corners of Chu Shu's mouth raised. He had already discussed this plan with Ancient One. The conclusion is that it is very feasible. Use the collected infinite gems to repair the originally broken dimensional barrier with a snap of your fingers. With the complete dimensional barrier protection, the collision crisis between the DC universe and the Marvel universe will naturally be over. The plan makes sense, considering that after this snap of fingers, I may never meet anyone from the DC universe again. Chu Shu felt that he should cherish this rare opportunity even more. Anyway, I also want to let Iron Man and Batman fight. The only problem now is the Power Stone. After leaving Atalan, Chu Shu teleported to Thanos' hometown Titan, where he prepared to take Thanos back. Thanos. You finally remembered me. I summon Thanos of the 19,999 FL universe. Chu Shu gave the order. The system does not prompt, no such person found. This means Thanos did not die in the DC universe. But Chu Shu waited for a long time, nor did he wait for Thanos' return. What do you mean? Rejected my call. Chu Shu was a little unhappy. TMD, purple sweet potato essence, you are shameless, right? Okay. Wasn't your last location on the planet Apocalypse? I summon 19,999 FL, the dark side of Thanos' universe. Chu Shu just finished speaking. The familiar white light suddenly appeared. Immediately afterwards, a burly and domineering figure walked out of the white light. Put your hands behind your back. Looking down at the surroundings with arrogant eyes. Is this the world Thanos lives in? Darkseid, who was nearly 3 meters tall, looked defiantly and glanced around. Until Chu Shu knocked on his knee. Hey, are you so blind? What did you say? Darkseid lowered his head suddenly, his eyes glowing red. That's the sign of Omega rays, I said. Are you, damn, blind? Shu doesn't like Darkseid either. It doesn't matter how awesome your setting is, whether it's the only one in a multi-universe or whatever. As long as you come here as an evil, Shu has 100 ways to mess with you. 100 kinds. Darkseid was silent, because he felt the terrifying energy in the human body in front of him. If they really fight, he shouldn't be able to defeat him. Note: DCEU is the movie version of the DC world, not the comic version. At the moment, Darkseid didn't get the anti-life equation he dreamed of. Facing Shu who has reached level single universe in the Marvel worldview. This Dark King from the DC universe, he quickly hid his anger in his heart. Why did you summon me here? Darkseid looked around. Then soon, he realized a terrible thing. That's right. He finally felt what Thanos felt like, that is, it was fine when I came here, and I can't go back. Darkseid secretly used his Omega effect to set the teleportation coordinates of several DC universes. But the result was nothing. The Marvel universe and the DC universe are currently separated from each other. There was no collision, so Darkseid can't go back either. Tell me what you want to know, and I will tell you as much as I know. Darkseid's tone became so kind for the first time. Because he realized that whether he could return to the DC universe completely depended on the mood of the human being in front of him. Unfortunately, Shu is not in a good mood now. Let me ask you, where is Thanos? Well, Thanos was imprisoned on Apocalypse by me. I imprisoned his body with the steel of Apocalypse. And ordered a large number of mind controllers to seal his thoughts and consciousness. Mention Thanos. Darkseid regained his composure. He double imprisoned Thanos' body and mind. No matter how powerful that Titan is or if he has the regenerative healing factor, he will never be able to escape. However, Darkseid realized it after he finished speaking. Shu's face had become extremely cold. I said, why can't I summon it? It turns out it's your kid's fault. Shu has no fear of the DC Universe villain in front of him. It's not just because the other party's strength is not as good as yours. More importantly, based on the strength of Darkseid, Shu can basically judge that the DC universe next door should also be a universe with a movie worldview. Then there's nothing to be afraid of, not only not afraid. Shu even felt a little excited and interested. That's Gal Gadot. Wonder Woman in the cinematic universe. I'll ask you again. When you captured Thanos, did you find a purple gem? Shu asked Darkseid again. Purple gem? Darkseid showed a hint of doubt. Then he completely told how Thanos, Corvus Glaive, and Proxima Midnight drove a shabby spaceship to the planet Apocalypse. I understand. What you mean is that Thanos went to Earth first and was beaten up by Fatty. And then came to your planet Apocalypse? Information provided via Darkseid. Shu basically had a preliminary understanding of what happened to the purple sweet potato spirit. If Thanos' first stop on his DC journey is Earth, there is no need to worry about the whereabouts of the Power Stone. 9 times out of 10, it fell into the hands of the Justice League. Okay, I know everything I need to know, thank you. You're welcome. You can. Darkseid gestured. I mean, can he be sent back to the DC universe? Send it to you? No problem. Shu said nothing. He took out an exorcism card. Deport Darkseid, directionally to the Supreme Dimension. Along with the confusion in Darkseid's eyes, there was a flash of white light. The great villain of the DC universe was thrown into the Supreme Dimension of Emperor Wyshan. Oh hit. Here we go again. Hogs. Alas. Agamotto. Alas. Trinity sighed. Seeing Darkseid clearly thrown away by the white light, Trinity realized something was wrong. This guy doesn't seem to be a living being in our universe? More than. This is no longer a worldview. The Trinity of Gods whispered, and Darkseid finally raged after being teased by Shu. Ah. How dare you humiliate the great darkness? Darkseid was angry. In his opinion, he answered your question out of respect for your strength. But you humiliated me again and again. Scholars can be killed. Not to be insulted. What's more, you are humiliating the great king of darkness. What is he yelling about? I don't know. I guess I was deceived by that kid again. Tisk, you are a pity person, what should we say? What else can I say? Beat him and let him go. The Trinity discussion was completed. The half-human, half-animal ancient god Hogs appears. The originally empty Supreme Dimension suddenly reflected an extremely huge tiger head. Eyes wide open. The divine power is reflected in the eyes. Darkseid was silent. Sorry, Thanos, I understand your dilemma now. DCEU universe. There was chaos on Apocalypse. Darkseid's disappearance is like a fuse that detonates the planet. The great darkness is missing. he traveled to another universe. Apocalypse star scientist Dysart gave the results of his analysis. Can he come back? Darkseid's uncle and the military commander of Apocalypse, Steppenwolf, asked. Dysart didn't speak. It just uses holographic projection to bring up the picture of Thanos. The meaning is very simple. Thanos cannot leave our world, and Darkseid cannot leave the other person's world. Got the news? Many of Steppenwolf and Darkseid's men were silent. Everyone was in great spirits. Deploy troops and generals. Just wait for the next time the universe collides, and raise your troops to attack the universe where Thanos lives. It's good now. The deployment of troops and generals has been completed. As a result, the commander-in-chief disappeared. Darkseid won't encounter any danger in the opponent's universe, right? Darkseid's eldest son, Kalibak, issued a soul torture. Darkseid didn't like this son. He doesn't even want to let the other person call him father. Absolutely impossible. That's Darkseid, the most powerful new god on Apocalypse, the Great Dark King. Just those scumbags from the next universe. Who can defeat him? Steppenwolf retorted. Yes, Darkseid will be fine. Darkseid's kind grandmother also stood up to support Steppenwolf. Despite her amiable appearance, this old lady looks friendly. But in fact, her cruelty ranks among the top 3 on the entire planet Apocalypse. And she is also the commander and training officer of the Nemesis Squadron, Apocalypse's Special Forces. Everyone, don't worry. Darkseid's strength is obvious to all. As more and more people come forward, everyone on Apocalypse has gradually strengthened their belief that Inkside will definitely press the button. We just need to continue acting according to the plan laid out by Darkseid. That's right. Wait until the next cosmic collision. We will invade each other's universe in a big way. Steppenwolf and Kind Granny temporarily took over command of Apocalypse. That's right. Darkseid will definitely cooperate with us inside and outside. Conquer the opponent's universe in one fell swoop. This battle. The advantage is mine. Everyone on Apocalypse soon regained their confidence. Follow the steps. Prepare to proceed with your great plan to invade the Marvel Universe. However, nobody knows, just above the star Apocalypse, a dead soul named Corvus Glaive, is floating slowly. At the same time, he silently gave a like to the person below. Very good. Just so confident. I thought so before I died. Marvel Universe. Everything returned to calm. But everyone knows this is just the moment of calm before the storm. Everyone is waiting. Waiting for the day when the two universes collide again. For this reason, Tony Stark comes to New York's holy place several times a day. Choo Shoo, is there really no kryptonite in our universe? Choo Shoo, I read in DC Comics that Superman has low magic resistance. Is this true? Choo Shoo, is there any way to block Martian Manhunter's telepathy? No rest. Roll. Choo Shoo finally couldn't bear it anymore. Just use the space gem to throw Tony onto Mount Everest. It's finally quiet. Choo Shoo is actually also waiting for the day when the two universes collide. Although he can summon people from other universes at will, he can also expel the summoned people to any universe. But these two abilities can only be used against evils. Choo Shoo himself has no way to teleport across different world views. Even Marvel's parallel universe. Wait a minute. I seem to have a solution in the parallel universe. Choo Shoo suddenly remembered that he had snatched Agatha's Book of Darkness last time. He glanced around. Make sure the Ancient One is not in the holy place. He immediately took out the book from his space belt. Huh. Why don't you let me learn? Joke. The only word in the life creed of labor and management is rebellion. Check out the dark divine water. The pile of evil magic that caught his eyes made Choo Shoo's eyes light up. What sucks other people's lifespan, torturing other people's souls? Looking at Choo Shoo, a smile couldn't help but appear on her lips. This is called magic. But having said that, Choo Shoo didn't really learn these black magic. Because for him now, these things can no longer increase combat effectiveness. It is not meaningful, still delaying things. Let's take a look at these magics that travel through parallel universes. Soon, Choo Shoo found out about the magic of parallel universes. Among them is the dream walking technique, mentioned before by Ancient One. Strictly speaking, this magic is not time travel. Instead, he forcibly projects his consciousness onto another self in the parallel universe. To put it bluntly, the soul occupies another body of oneself. It's no use. Choo Shoo tried dream walking. Then he discovered that he, like Darkseid, had the unique characteristic of multi-universe. Wrong. Darkseid isn't technically the only one. Because he is the only entity, and then his entity projects countless duplications in the multi-universe. But Chu Shu didn't even have duplication. Dream walking technique. After searching for a long time, I couldn't find the second existence of Chu Shu's universe. Oops. I don't understand. I don't want to think about it anymore. Let's go to the ball. Chu Shu also knows that there are many mysteries in him. For example, at the beginning, Ancient One said, he is the only one in the timeline. It's good now. Except the only one in the timeline. It is also the only one in multi-universe. But Chu Shu couldn't figure out why these characteristics were present, so he simply didn't think about them. It's not a bad thing anyway. 1. It does not affect playing games. 2. It does not affect dry rice. 3. It does not affect picking up girls. Then what does it matter what he does? No worries. Chu Shu continued to look through the Book of Darkness. In addition to dream walking, there are also magics such as astral projection, which can also affect parallel universes. But these are all projections of one's own consciousness into a parallel universe. Exists in the form of a spirit or spiritual body. What's the point of not leaving the physical body? Chu Shu is a layman, especially when his dream is to go to a parallel universe. Ahem. Whether the physical body can go there is particularly important. Dimension tear. This seems to work. Soon, Chu Shu discovered a black magic that could physically travel to parallel universes. But there is one small drawback. Releasing this magic will destroy the barrier strength of this dimension. The dimensional barrier is just like a membrane, it just needs to be repaired if it is broken. I have infinite gems, so I don't panic at all. Chu Shu finished speaking. Just ready to try it. The Ancient One took Tony Stark, who was frozen into an ice sculpture, back to the holy place in New York. Chu Shu quickly put away the Dark God book. Tony Stark didn't wear armor or protective clothing. After a while, my hands and feet were frozen to the point of stiffness. There is an ice pick hanging under the nose. It should be that the flowing snot has frozen into ice. Fortunately I found it early. Or the Tony Stark of our universe. Tony Stark will probably die the most undignified death in all parallel universes. Ancient One picked up the remote control and turned the air conditioner into heating mode. Then he put Tony, who was frozen into an ice sculpture, toward the air outlet. I almost. Tony stammered. Because of the cold, his thoughts were a little stiff and he couldn't speak clearly. I'm sorry, brother, I was so busy studying just now that I forgot about you. Chu Shu felt very guilty. As he spoke, he grabbed the remote control and turned the air conditioner back to cooling. Boss. I'm afraid it's not appropriate to turn on the heating mode in summer, right? I'll just take him out to bask in the sun, said. Chu Shu took Tony, who was frozen into an ice sculpture, to the main road outside the holy place. Passers-by quickly recognized the two. They all took out their mobile phones and started taking pictures. Tony's stiff body looked at Chu Shu. I know it was my brother's fault. I shouldn't have left you in the snowy mountains for so long. Mainly forgetting, but don't worry. You are my beloved relative and friend, brothers and sisters. Even if you really freeze to death, brother, I will definitely revive you. Just be at ease, Chu Shu assured Tony as she patted her chest. A line of clear tears flowed from Tony's eyes. I want to say. Can you carry me back? I want to save face. 6. A place of eternal silence deep in the universe. Little girl Atreyu holds a pink cartoon-style push-button mobile phone. While swinging on the swing with his bare feet, he quickly entered 14,512 on the keyboard of his mobile phone. Then dial. Hello? Is it the cosmic anchor of universe 14,512? Hello. I am Atreyu from the 19,999 FL universe. The Mecha Spider-Man Penny Parker from your universe tried to come to our world through a cosmic collision. I have sent her back. Yes, please pay attention to receive it. In addition, I have repaired the cracks caused by the collision. You can repair them as soon as possible. Okay, thank you for your cooperation, goodbye. Atreyu hung up the phone with a smile on her face. Then pick up the little notebook. The object of this collision with universe number 14,512. Processed. After finishing writing, the smile on Atreyu's face became even brighter. She has written down all kinds of messy parallel universes in her little notebook. They were all collision crises that she solved or avoided in advance. Like the 616 main universe, the 2149 zombie universe, the 10,005 X-Men universe, the Men in Black universe, the What If series universe, and so on. Atreyu counted briefly. Until now, she has solved 41 parallel universe collision crises. Yeah, Atreyu is amazing. The greatest cosmic anchor of all universes. Obviously, Adela is very satisfied with his injury ability. However, just when she conjured up a cake with 41 candles. When you were ready to entertain yourself and celebrate yourself, something unexpected happened. The 42nd cosmic collision crisis is coming. 42, it's 42 again. I remember that the ultimate answer to the universe seems to be 42, right? Atreyu made a little joke. This so-called ultimate answer to the universe was actually told to her by Deadpool in a parallel universe. He said he saw it in a certain movie. Strange, what movie contains the ultimate answer to the universe? Atreyu murmured while trying to write the cosmic anchor of the universe this time to make contact. Then the next second, the little girl who was just proud of her business ability was stunned. DCEU? What kind of universe is this? Atreyu was confused. She attempts to send a message to the cosmic anchor of this universe. The result was nothing, because there is no cosmic anchor in the DC universe. Oops, something big is going to happen, accompanied by Atreyu's murmur. The calm before the storm is finally over. The collision has begun. In the holy place of New York, after creating a new account and starting to score again, Chushu suddenly raised his head. Definitely. The reason for creating a new account is not because the account, Batman, the number 1 in the server, was sacrificed. In fact, this account is still on the ladder list. Because Soul Gem doesn't admit it, what really made Chushu create a new account. In fact, it is because of the version update that a new hero has been added, the King of Hell. That's right. This is a new hero created in Glory of the Premier League, based on Chushu. Incredible intensity, can carry and fight. There is displacement, control, shield, physical damage, real damage, magic damage. A proper operation monster plus numerical monster. As a natural hero, Chushu definitely wants to create a new account and prepare to become the 3rd in the world. However, the novice tutorial after creating a new account has not yet been completed. Somewhere, Chushu felt a calling. The collision started? I sense the call of the Power Stone. Chushu turned off the novice tutorial and came to the door of Holy Place in New York. Although it looks calm outside, but Chushu knows. The real upheaval is about to begin. What's the matter with the sudden excitement? DCEU Universe. Earth. The temporary headquarters of the Justice League. Actually, the Batcave, Batman, who had been staying in front of the screen, was suddenly awakened by a piercing alarm. After waking up, Batman saw several lines of large words on the screen. Wake up now. Quick. Batman was just about to notify the others. Superman and the Flash suddenly appeared behind him. The collision begins. Superman looked solemn. The only thing they know about the Marvel Universe next door. Just a few battles with Thanos and the Avengers comic that only released 1 issue. Don't you have any rest? Batman couldn't help but ask when he saw the 2 of them coming so quickly. I don't need a break. Superman's answer is simple and clear. The Flash gives full play to the middle-class nature of a nerdy boy. Please, comics are invading reality. How can I possibly sleep after such a big deal? The Flash. Barry Allen's eyes are excited. Although the Avengers comics were only serialized in 1 issue. But for Barry as a child, heroic characters like Iron Man, Captain America, and the Hulk still became his childhood idols. Do you know? Actually, some heroes in the Marvel world are very similar to us. Just like Iron Man. Bruce, he is very similar to you. They are both rich second-generation, playboy, and genius boy. The Flash gives an example. But there was one thing he didn't dare to say in front of Batman. That is Iron Man, like you, also lost his parents. Comic is not reality, Barry. Remember this. Batman looked serious and warned. Don't forget that the comic didn't mention Thanos invading other universes. But we met. So the real Marvel Universe must be much more complicated than that comic. It's also much more dangerous. While Batman and the Flash were talking, hear the alarm. Other members of the Justice League also rushed over. Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Martian Manhunter. Then there are the members of the Justice Society, led by Dr. Destiny. Dr. Destiny, Atom Smasher, Hawkman, Whirlwind. Finally, there is the Suicide Squad, made up of villains and anti-heroes. Deadshot, Harley Quinn, King Shark, Demon of Vengeance, Peacemaker. Is everyone here? Batman's eyes scanned the crowd. Especially it lingered a little longer on the faces of everyone in Suicide Squad. To be fair, Batman is not willing to associate with these villains. But the current cosmic collision crisis forces them to gather all their available forces. Report. Aquaman is not here. Harley Quinn came to the Batcave for the first time. Harley Quinn looked very excited. Hands raised like a schoolboy reporting. An expression like, teacher, hurry up, come on. Batman frowned. But before he could say anything more. Boom. There was a sudden loud noise outside the Batcave. When everyone opened the surveillance screen and took a look, they were all dumbfounded. I saw a fiery red demon dozens of meters tall, rampaging through the devastated Gotham City. If at the moment Chu Shu was present, you will definitely be able to identify the demon at a glance. That's right. This is the former Hell Lord. The former Lord of the Burning Hell, now homeless, Mephisto. Ever since Dormammu was beaten up by Gu. After the Dark Dimension was also cut to pieces by the Supreme Ancient One's sword. Mephisto was completely frightened. Fearing the wrath of the Ancient One, it simply gave up on the Flame Dimension. But just now, Mephisto, who has been running around the universe. But for some reason, I suddenly came to this strange Earth. Roar. What kind of trick are you doing? How dare you imprison the great demon Satan? Mephisto was startled, thinking that Chu Shu came to the door with Ancient One. Shocked and angry, it appears originally, wreaking havoc in Gotham City. Gotham City, which was originally devastated because of Thanos' battle, once again ushered in destruction. But accidents often come with opportunities. Arkham Asylum, located on the outskirts of Gotham City, was lucky enough to escape the last Thanos war. But he didn't escape Mephisto this time. Boom. After an unintentional attack by Mephisto, the doors and walls of Arkham Asylum were affected and destroyed. The walls collapsed. The prisoners inside filed out. Yeah. Become free. What a good joke, ha 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 ha. Among the prisoners who escaped was a man with a Joker pattern painted on his face with red and blue paint. He laughed maniacally. The other side, Marvel Universe. The underwater kingdom of Atlantis also welcomed an uninvited guest. Is this the Marvel world? Aquaman Arthur of the DC Universe. He looked at this strange ocean world with cold eyes. Just now, he accidentally came to the Marvel world through a crack. Facing the familiar yet unfamiliar ocean in front of me, Arthur felt a surge of dissatisfaction in his heart. His left arm was torn off during the battle with Thanos. Although Cyborg later used Prometheus metal to build a robotic arm for him. How can this calm the resentment in Aquaman's heart? I heard there is an Aquaman in this world. Then let's see if he is qualified, Arthur said coldly. Take the trident and jump into the sea. Once in the water, Aquaman's strength is like a dragon entering the sea. It swam as fast as a torpedo, drawing a straight white line directly in the deep sea. Head straight to the undersea kingdom of the Marvel world. Atlantis. Everyone, cheer for your king. Because with my efforts, the land people have successfully established a bilateral trade plan with the devils of hell. Especially after we provide thermal power generation technology. The Land Federation even announced that from now on, they will gradually stop offshore oil development. The ocean pollution problem that has troubled us for many years will be fundamentally solved. So, my subjects, are you happy? The underwater kingdom Atlantis. Namor, Aquaman of the Marvel Universe, is excitedly telling his subjects about his great plan. From time to time, it caused bursts of cheers from the people below. Ha ha ha. I am truly a model of benevolence. Feel the enthusiasm of the people. Namor grinned to the back of his head with joy. As a king, Namor always thought more about his subjects and his kingdom. The love of his subjects is also Namor's biggest motivation. So, Namor waved his hand, indicating that everyone should calm down and listen to him. Wait for the frantic atmosphere to calm down a bit. Namor continued. To thank Mr. Chu Shu who provided us with great help in this plan. I suggest holding the first Atlantis beauty pageant. Choose the most beautiful Atlantis woman. Marry Master Chu Shu. Namor ordered. Not only did the Atlantean subjects below not object, but they rushed forward screaming. After all, they are not stupid. That is Chu Shu, the co-lord of hell, Satan, the most powerful person on earth. The numerous names were placed here, instantly detonating the whole audience. Choose me. Choose me. An Atlantis woman weighing several hundred tons squeezed forward with all her strength. Her huge body directly pushed the seawater, pushing other candidates aside. Ahem. This beauty pageant is only open to normal-sized Atlanteans. Well, I mean the size of normal humans, that is, land people. So, Junjen, please step aside first. But we all still need to encourage Junjen. This spirit of active participation is worth learning from every Atlantean. As Namor spoke, he did not forget to applaud Junjen. Jane is a member of the whale family, a variant of the Atlanteans. So the body is, slightly, bigger. Look at this grand occasion. Namor looked at the Atlantis women who were actively signing up below with a look of relief. Now I wonder who can say that my path is narrow. Joke. When it comes to thigh skimming, I, Namor, say I am second, but no one dares to claim first. However, before Namor could be proud for a few more seconds. Boom. Just heard a loud noise. The giant Poseidon statue at the entrance to Atlantis was suddenly hit by a beam of energy. The trident in the statue's hand is directly separated from the statue's body. Tilt. Slowly smashing towards the many Atlanteans below. Enemy attack. Namor yelled. Then he saw a figure rushing towards him at an extremely fast speed. In the seawater, the figure turned into a white line and rushed towards me with almost no resistance. For a moment, Namor felt like he saw another version of himself. Aquaman Arthur of the DC Universe. Namor, who had participated in the first Illumination Conference, reacted instantly. Then came the rage. It was originally a life and death war, but you actually dared to invade my Atlantis. Court death. Namor jumped. Then he roared. Go to the west to invite. No. Go to New York to invite Mr. Choo-Choo. You guys, Marvel, are you still shameless? You agreed to 1 versus 1 and still won't win? Does your behavior deserve to be called a hero? I bother. Moon. Attilan prison. DC's Aquaman, Arthur, was banging on the cell door while cursing. But the only person who responded to him was the crazy supergiant in the cell next door. Hey, Patrick, are you here to catch jellyfish too? Do not bother me. Aquaman Arthur cursed angrily. Then another tired voice came from around him. Hey, new guy. I advise you not to compete with her, if you don't want to become like me. At the moment, Red Skull is really as emaciated as a skeleton. The whole body collapsed on the ground. The face is haggard. Shut up too. Damn Marvel bastards. Obviously, Arthur didn't appreciate Red Skull's kind reminder. Not long ago. Atlantis. Arthur wanted to use a battle of two kings to prove that he was the strongest Aquaman. In the end, he was kicked in a circle. You are the Arthur of the DC Universe, right? You want to fight, right? Okay. It can't be used here, let's move to another place. Namor said, let's change places and have a one-on-one solo, and no one can connect. Secretly, Choo-Choo and the Avengers have already been contacted. Although Choo-Choo didn't come in the end. But Namor still brought in the Black Widow and Hawkeye from Avengers. In fact, even so, Arthur wouldn't be so angry. Because he also read the comic book, Avengers V1, and knew that Black Widow and Hawkeye were the weakest fighters among the Avengers, so it was nothing to worry about. But the problem is, the Black Widow and Hawkeye that Namor brought are different from the ones in the comics. To put it simply, they all wear steel armors customized by Tony Stark. It was at that moment, Arthur finally understood what comics are all lies. It's not just a difference in strength. What's more important is that these Marvel heroes have nothing to do with the image of Wei Guangzhong in comic books. This is what makes Arthur angry. Everyone is the king of the seven seas. You should have the spirit of a king. As a result, you don't respect martial ethics, so you can win in a one-on-one fight. I'm not convinced, Namor. You don't deserve to be the king of the seven seas. If you can, let me go and let's fight again. Lunar Attilan. Namor completely ignored Arthur's taunt. After all, it's not him who is imprisoned in Vibranium prison now. Maybe it's because those who are close to Vermilion are red, and those who are close to ink are black. Today's Marvel heroes no longer have any shame in this kind of single-fight behavior. Even Namor is still proud of his wit. Now the collision has begun. We must save all our forces and avoid 1 versus 1 battles. At a holographic projection conference, Tony and others also affirmed Aquaman's behavior. In the face of this kind of collision of two universes in a life and death war, personal honor is a complete joke. Singled out? Who the hell is challenging you to a duel? Does any of you know where Choo-Choo went? Namor asked at the meeting. When DC Aquaman invaded, the first person he notified was Choo-Choo, but Choo-Choo did not show up. Choo-Choo. How can I watch the show when it appears? I know. Tony answered Namor's question. Choo-Choo went to the legendary dwarf country. He said he wanted to find a dwarf to forge an infinity gauntlet to embed infinite gems. Hear this answer. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Choo-Choo is not lazy, just stay aside and watch the show. How can we lose when a big boss is in charge? Although the DC universe also has werewolves. But everyone obviously believes in Choo-Choo of their own universe more. According to the information provided by Choo-Choo before leaving, the collision lasted approximately 3 days. What we have to do is sneak into the DC universe and take back the Power Stone from the hands of the Justice League within these 3 days. As long as we collect all the gems, we have the ability to destroy each other's universe. Steve. I know what you want to say, but now is not the time for womanly kindness. According to the information provided by Choo-Choo, there are only three final results of this cosmic collision. Either destroy the other party's universe and save yourself, or be destroyed by the other party, or perish together. There is no other choice, that's right. Shu copied the setting of the fourth Secret Wars in Marvel Comics. Move the multi-universe collision crisis settings inside and use them to intimidate Tony and others. But actually, if you don't care, let the Marvel and DC universes continue to expand. The final result is more likely to be mutual integration rather than mutual destruction. What's the point if we don't fight? New York holy place. Shu never went to any dwarf country to forge the Infinity Gauntlet. Because he doesn't need that thing at all, as a comic version of the level single universe artifact. The all-black Death Sword, totally capable of holding up the movie version of Infinite Gems. There is no need to get another Infinity Gauntlet as a carrier like Thanos did. Now I'm just waiting for Tony and the others to help me get the Power Stone back. Shu now feels like a mastermind behind the scenes. He is manipulating the Avengers Alliance and Zhang Lian, pushing them both onto the path of war with each other. Although it's a little bit untrue, but I guess Tony and the others won't mind, after all, they are all good brothers. Say, there shouldn't be anything wrong. DCEU. Compared to Marvel, who easily defeated Aquaman Arthur by relying on 1-1 battle. There are no tricks on DC's part. He could only rely on Superman, Wonder Woman, Dr. Destiny and other top combat powers to fight hard and defeat Mephisto, who was now greatly reduced in strength. Poor Mephisto would never have thought, as a former top heavenly father, the most powerful lord of hell, he would actually end up falling into the hands of a demigod. That's right, the final blow to Mephisto was the artifact in Wonder Woman's hand, the Vulcan sword. It's finally over, Wonder Woman, Galga, when Diana jumped down from Mephisto's huge body. Already so tired that I was dripping with sweat. No, it's far from over yet. Batman, who was in a state of dismay, appeared from nowhere. Cyborg has found a fixed rift in the universe. Through the Promethean metal in the robotic arm he built for Aquaman. Cyborg has roughly determined his location in the Marvel universe, the moon. So, we have to go back in time, rescue Arthur. That's all. Both universes have tacitly made plans to go to the other universe. DC Universe. Batman, always cautious, sent out scouts. Barry, you and Adam go to each other's universe first. Be sure to find out what's going on with them. After the mission is completed, just use the teleportation device on your wrist to come back. Remember, you cannot be interrupted during the transmission process, let alone be discovered by the enemy. Otherwise they can find it along the passage. Since there is only one issue of Marvel Comics in the DC universe. Intelligence is limited. Batman had to send the Flash and the second-generation Atom Ray Palmer to gather information. The latter can be understood as the Ant-Man of the DC universe. It can shrink its size to a submicroscopic level, and it can also enlarge itself into a giant. No problem. Let's go back quickly. The Flash Barry made a pun. Then turn on the speed, entering the rift with the shrunken atom. A moment of time and space distortion. The two came to the Marvel world. Looking at the similar cities in front of him, Barry couldn't help but marvel. New York? Shouldn't it be Gotham City? Why is Gotham City here called New York? Barry looked at the familiar buildings and unfamiliar street signs in front of him and asked. This is actually a big difference between DC and Marvel. Marvel uses real place names. DC adopted the pseudonym. But in fact, the Gotham City of the DC universe refers to New York. So, safe Gotham City and safe New York City actually mean the same thing. Violence, crime, needles by the trash can, there really seems to be no difference between this place and Gotham City. Atom jumped off Barry's shoulders and returned to normal file size. Man, wait for me here for a while, I'll go outside and take a look. After the Flash finished speaking, he was just about to activate the speed, force and start running. As a result, I just took a step forward, plop. The front foot tripped over the back foot and fell upside down. Barry? Atom was shocked. You the Flash can still wrestle? No. After Barry got up from the ground, he looked at his hands in shock. There is no speed, force in this universe. What? Just when Atom was surprised, a flash of silver lightning appeared instantly. Looking at your attire, you seem to be a speedster too? Quicksilver looked at the Flash Barry with interest. But he didn't rush to take action. Raymond, go quickly. Although there is no speed, force, but Barry still gave susceptive perception to the silver-haired man in front of him, who was very dangerous. What about you? Atom also felt completely in danger from Quicksilver. Leave me alone. Go back and tell everyone that the rules of the two universes are different. Some abilities cannot be used in this world. The Flash Barry urged anxiously. Quicksilver put his arms around his shoulders and watched the two talking with interest. Want to run? Casual. Out of the confidence of a hasty man. Quicksilver shrugged and indicated that Adam could run away first. But this time, Kuai-ing is obviously a little too arrogant. Barry, I will bring someone here to rescue you. As soon as Adam finished speaking, his body size shrank rapidly. PIM technology. Only then did Quicksilver realize something was wrong. In an instant, it turned into a silver lightning and rushed over, reaching out to grab it. But it turned out to be empty. Adam reduced himself to the ultimate submicroscopic structural level in one breath. This has resulted in a de facto disappearance. Even though Quicksilver tried every method, it could not sense the existence of Adam. Red Boy, how did you do this? Quicksilver turned his attention to the Flash. There is a threshold for Ant-Man's shrinkage. Under normal circumstances, Ant-Man will only shrink himself to the ant file size, because if he continues to shrink, he may enter the quantum realm, eventually causing himself to be trapped inside. The Atom of the DC universe obviously does not have this problem. I'm not a red kid, my name is the Flash, Barry Allen. Hello, Barry. My name is Quicksilver, and now you are my prisoner. Seeing that he had let one of them escape, Quicksilver had no choice but to pick up Barry and go back to deliver the goods. And shortly after the two left, Adam appears again and returns to his normal size. We must bring this news back quickly. He didn't dare to linger. He quickly teleported himself back to the DC universe through the device on his wrist. What? Barry got caught. How is this possible, with his speed? Heard the news Adam brought back. Everyone in the Justice League looked in disbelief. The one who caught him was a silver-haired speedster. Adam told the situation at that time. Speedster? Is this guy faster than Barry? Everyone was even more unbelievable when they heard this. The Flash's speed is obvious to all, and even Superman Clark can barely keep up with his speed at this stage. Tell me the result now. Is there a speedster in the Marvel world who's faster than Barry? No, I don't know which one of them is faster. Adam shook his head and said, they didn't have a chance to compete because Barry lost his ability in the Marvel world. I came back just to deliver this message. The rules of the two universes are different. Some abilities cannot be used in the other universe. Hear this answer. Batman suddenly remembered something. Quickly looking at Cyborg, Cyborg also reacted and dug out the purple gem from the pile of debris. Cyborg, what did you say before about the energy in this gem? Batman asked in a serious tone. Endless. A little leakage is enough to destroy the planet. Cyborg repeated his original words. When everyone heard this, they suddenly realized Batman's plan. The faces of each one changed suddenly. This gem is just a useless stone in their universe. But this is because of the rules of the universe. Once it reaches the Marvel universe, this gem will undoubtedly be a huge killer that will destroy the world. Bruce, you don't want to use this gem as a weapon, do you? Wonder Woman looked solemn. Her goal is to prevent cosmic collisions and avoid greater disasters. Instead of using some big weapon to destroy the opponent's world. I definitely don't want to use this thing, but don't forget what Thanos said back then. In their world, there are a total of 6 such infinite rough stones. Batman held the purple gem tightly in his hand. He said something that made everyone's hair stand on end. What if the other side wants to destroy our world? For a moment, fear arose in the hearts of everyone. But Superman was the first to react. Bruce, your assumption is not valid. Because the Infinity Stone cannot be used in our world. As a boy who grew up on a farm in Kansas, Clark did not think that human nature was so sinister. He prefers to believe those superheroes next door. They are also trying to find ways to prevent the two universes from colliding with each other instead of destroying each other. Are you sure, Clark? Batman said, suddenly slapping the purple power gem on the table. Snapped, accompanied by a loud bang. A power stone that is supposed to be unusable. Suddenly a faint purple light burst out. The entire table was instantly destroyed by this weak force and turned into powder. This moment, everyone was stunned. You seem to have forgotten a premise. The universes are colliding. They are merging. And that means, as the collision intensifies, the previous rules will slowly change. Batman spread his palms. His palms were bloody due to the backlash from the power gem. And this bloody evidence also shows, he was right to worry just now. Then, a chain of suspicion is formed. Chain of suspicion. This word often appears in Liu's novels. In fact, it is not a new concept. It appears in many places and many times. especially when both parties have the ability to destroy each other, but lack communication. The suspicion of infinite nesting dolls. The chain begins. We can guarantee not to be the first to use infinite rough stones to destroy the other party. But who can guarantee that the other party will not use it first? Batman's question. Superman Clark, who insists that there is truth, goodness and beauty in the world, also hesitated. Really? There is no guarantee, especially since the other party also captured Aquaman and the Flash. What we have to do now is to rescue Arthur and Barry first. But considering our limited understanding of the Marvel world, the original reconnaissance plan failed. Batman frowned. What he is best at is formulating targeted plans based on existing intelligence. But now, the only thing they know about the Marvel world is the comic that was serialized in one issue. But the problem is that there is too little information in that comic. Not even the characters are complete. Take the silver-haired speedster Adam talked about as an example. This character is not mentioned at all in the comic, Avengers v1. Considering potential threats to the Marvel Universe, the rescue team must be strong enough. We can no longer send people in. In order to avoid the occurrence of the behavior of Calabash Boy saves Grandpa, Batman named his rescue list. Clark, Diana, Dr. Fate, the rescue mission will be left to you three. Batman doesn't hold back. It can be said that they dispatched the strongest trio that Zheng Lian can produce in one go. Needless to say, Superman, the perfect first combat force of the Justice League. Wonder Woman Diana is better in balance, and her strength should not be underestimated. The final Dr. Fate is a guarantee. Even if there is an accident in the rescue mission, Dr. Destiny on the magic side can teleport away with everyone. No problem letting us go to the rescue, but if. What should we do if Marvel comes to snatch the Infinity Stones from us while we are away? Wonder Woman Diana asked. Her advice is to leave at least one person to guard the infinite gems. After all, the chain of suspicion that led to the destruction of both sides is based on the premise that the Justice League also possesses an infinite gems. Once this gem is taken away from them, then they will become the meat on the chopping board, without any room to fight back. I have already considered these, don't worry, Diana. Batman seems very determined. See this? Diana had no choice but to agree. Until everyone present left. Cyborg and Batman, who were the last to stay, looked at each other. How sure are you? Cyborg asked. 10%. Batman's eyes are sharp. The light of wisdom shines inside. If I were a member of the Marvel Universe, I would definitely take back this gem at all costs. So what we have to do is to set up traps and wait for them. You need a bait, Bruce. I can create a machine that spreads false signals based on the energy frequency of this gem. Very good, this way even if the plan fails, they will still get a fake gem. However, while Batman and Cyborg were talking, outside the door, a figure tilted his ears and eavesdropped on the two men's plot. No one expected that a little mole would appear in the headquarters of the Justice League. A purple gem with the power to destroy heaven and earth? Wow, sounds interesting. Harley Quinn, who has returned, has finished eavesdropping. Satisfied, he quietly left, edited the message into a text message, and sent it. Dear Pudding. I heard you escaped from Arkham Asylum. I am so happy for you. Smiley face, smiley face. Guess where I am now? You can't guess. Da-da, Batcave. Is it unexpected? They recruited me to save the world. Oh, please, don't they know that you are my world? By the way, Pudding, I just overheard a bat secret, a cool one. You will definitely be interested. Note: when parallel universes are not involved, the Marvel Universe defaults to the 19999F universe. Marvel Universe. The teleported Superman, Wonder Woman, and Dr. Fate appeared above the Earth. Clark's super senses instantly swept the world. Various noisy sounds from the Marvel world surged into Superman's ears like waves. Superman has long been accustomed to this. He closed his eyes. Start sifting through it for key information. Devils, Super Eye, alien fleets, magic, Kamar Taj, Thanos, infinite gems. Wait a minute. What's this? Superman suddenly opened his eyes. He looked sharply towards the Earth. His supervision kept zooming in, and finally landed in an old office building in New York. X-ray vision directly penetrated the wall and fell on a group of busy people inside. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The sales of this independent issue of Superman are not good, Wayne, you need to reflect on it. Sorry, Editor-in-Chief, it's mainly the plot of Superman vs. Lex Luthor. Everyone is tired of watching it. I have a great idea. What do you think about infecting Batman with the Joker virus? Is it called the Laughing Bat? Through super sight and super hearing. Superman saw the situation in the DC editorial department as if he were personally there. He saw the Justice League poster hanging on the wall of the editorial office and heard those people discussing how to design a more powerful opponent for Superman next. Knowing that he is just a comic book character in this world, Superman has mixed feelings in his heart. But he kept silent. The place where Barry and Arthur are being held is not on Earth. On the moon. Superman looked towards the moon. His super hearing requires no medium. Even if there is a vacuum zone in between, he can still hear the sounds on the moon. Atalan. It looks like there's a big battle waiting for us. They already knew we were coming. Superman is right. The moment the three of them traveled through time, an alarm came from the Avengers headquarters that had moved to space. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Skyward Sword Bureau base was temporarily requisitioned and became the Avengers Alliance's space base. Superman, Wonder Woman, Dr. Fate. It seems that the opponent was a little anxious and just threw Wong Zha out. Tony Stark looked at the image displayed on the screen. Shake his head slightly. Is it safe enough here? I mean our conversation. Dr. Banner read the entire DC Comics overnight. She has lingering fears about Superman's clairvoyance eyes, and acute ears, fearing that their conversation would be overheard by Superman. Do not worry. Superman's X-rays cannot penetrate lead. This is an important setting in the comics, and I asked Jarvis to analyze all of Superman's weaknesses. Except for not having kryptonite, we've done everything we can. Tony Stark knocked on the conference room wall. There was lead several centimeters thick on top. In addition, for Superman's super hearing, I set up multiple jammers in the space base. All he could hear was meaningless murmur 5.